football fans. Welcome to the SVC Game of the Week, presented to you by Tomlinson Insurance.
Z is also brought to you by your local McDonald's restaurants, Ross County Banking Center, Chillicothe Signs and Screen Printing, Greenwald Lawn and Landscape, Recreations, The Lunchbox, Monroe's Collision, and Kingston National Bank. The Tomlinson Insurance SVC Game of the Week starts now.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to week number 6, week number 3 of Soda Valley Conference action. I'm Greg Pregame, back with my partner, Jaron Cox. Missed him for a couple weeks, but we're back together tonight. And record-wise, you look at this ball game, Jaron, both teams are 2-0 in conference play. Both are 4-1 overall. Both teams' loss came to a mid-state Buckeye Division opponent, Westfall losing in overtime to Circleville, and then Zane Trace losing to Amanda Clear Creek. So they've played good competition. This matchup on paper, both 4-1, should be a good one.
Yeah, it should be. I would think it would be a good game. I think the one thing about both of these teams is you're going to see a lot of running the football. I expect the clock to be rolling tonight, maybe 4 to 5 passes from each team. And, I think it's one of those games where we can sit here and we can talk about a whole bunch of different things. But I think what this game's going to come down to, Greg, is can Westfall tackle Bryce Johnson? And he is not afraid of contact. He will run people over. He has breakaway speed. We had Westfall a couple weeks ago at Circleville, and they had problems tackling. And I think that's what this game's going to come down to. Can Westfall's defense tackle against Zane Trace's running attack?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Likewise, Zane Trace defense, who we saw in week number 1 against Logan Elm, but they won easily in a running clock. All of a sudden, Westfall's a little bit different, and we might break here quickly as soon as we're going to have our national anthem. But the Westfall offense now with Quinn Eberly moving, he was hurt in the game we did. Their quarterback was Pottix, broke his collarbone. So Eberly moves to quarterback. He has got tremendous speed. You put him with the rights, Eli and Joey, who are cousins, a sophomore and a senior. They have 3 guys that can break it at any time. So Zane Trace, they'll have to tackle well with kind of a 3-pronged running attack. And right now we're going to have our national anthem. You're listening to the Tomlinson Insurance SVC Game of the Week. Back with more pregame after this timeout.
Chillicothe Signs and Screen Printing creates amazing apparel for SVC schools, plus customized shirts for your company or event. They offer everything from apparel, banners, and window graphics to decals, signs, billboards, and custom magnets. For great prices, friendly service, and quality products, call or stop in to see what they can create for you. Chillicothe Signs and Screen Printing, 97 North Park Drive in Chillicothe. Call 740-663-7023.
Ready to transform your entire lawn? Call Greenwald Lawn and Landscape. Just need a quick mow? Call Greenwald Lawn and Landscape. Driveway full of snow? Call Greenwald Lawn and Landscape. Greenwald Lawn and Landscape provides expert lawn care, landscaping, and snow removal services for year-round property maintenance. Call the experts at Greenwald, 740-701-6744. Greenwald Lawn and Landscape, a proud sponsor of SVC Sports.
Our national anthem, the Zane Trace Band. We're back with you here at Zane Trace for this SVC matchup. Both teams coming in at 2-0 and 4-1 overall. And as Jaron and I were talking about, both teams running attacks.
Yeah.
Can they tackle each other, particularly Bryce Johnson, such a physical runner for Zane Trace. And tonight, we shall. Maybe it comes down to which team can throw it a few times and hit that big pass, because you would think both teams are going to load up the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, you would think so. And, before we went to break, you were talking about Westfall's rushing attack, and they have a really good one. Quinn Eberly came in the game when Pottix got hurt, and the oldest Wright brother, or the cousin, he was out that game also. And they still moved the ball down the field very nicely. But I think the one thing that maybe separates Zane Trace from Westfall a little bit tonight, Greg, is Zane Trace has proven, their defense has proven that they can make some big plays. They had 2 pick sixes against Piketon a few weeks ago, and that 42-6 win. A lot of people have Piketon picked as a top 2 team maybe in the SVC. Zane Trace, beats them handily 42-6. And then last week, Zane Trace is losing to Huntington 14-13, and Huntington's getting ready to score again. Zane Trace's defense picks up a fumble and takes it back to the house too. So I think that Zane Trace has shown that their defense can make big plays. And I think that's something we're going to have to see tonight. Like you said, it might come down to which team can get the ball on the outside to some receivers real quick and throw the football. The one thing about Westfall is, they may not always have the most talented team in the world, but I really like Coach Stepp. I think if he's not the best, he's definitely one of the top coaches in the SVC. He does a good job every year getting his team prepared, and I'm sure that he's going to have a good game plan. And like I say, he does a great job, but sometimes you got to have the dogs out there, the players that make the plays. And, Zane Trace has a couple really good players, Bryce Johnson, Jaden Higgins, Gunnar McCullough, the Brower boy up front. So it's if both teams play their best, I think Zane Trace has them tonight, but that's why we're here playing football on a Friday night.
It's an 11-man game, obviously,
yeah.
But I know that first game, and you kind of alerted me to the fact that in the Logan Elm Zane Trace game, and Logan Elm kind of was their first game. They had some young players, but I thought Brower dominated the line of scrimmage that night.
Did.
And Westfall's going to have to, I'm sure we're in week 6. Other kids have gotten better. But he was pretty dominant up front, put a lot of pressure. And I think Westfall, on Westfall's defense, they get pressure a lot of times by blitzing their linebackers. Hanley and a couple of the kids,
yes.
They play 3 linebackers in the middle. So how teams handle that, we shall see. But Brower was pretty dominant in week 1. Really kind of dominated both sides of the line that night, I thought.
Yeah, and you were talking to me earlier before we went on the air, when Westfall played Paint Valley, they were blitzing those linebackers up the middle. And if that's the case tonight, maybe Coach Wares makes an adjustment. He starts pitching the ball outside to Jaden Higgins. He's got some nice speed also. I think we referred to Higgins and Johnson as thunder and lightning there. It seems like almost 2 months ago, just a few weeks ago, really. But, it's going to be an interesting game for sure. I think that the one thing is it's a beautiful night, and it's homecoming night, and I think that both teams they're going to be ready to play because we are in week 6, Greg, and you start looking at playoffs once you get past the midway point of the season. And right now Zane Trace is sitting in 7th place in Region 19. Westfall, this is really interesting, and Uniota's kind of in the same boat. We were talking about this before we came on the air. Westfall is 4-1, and they are 14th in their region. And the main reason, I think Uniota, they're in the same region. Uniota is 8th, and the main reason for that is they're not getting any level 2 points. You look at some of the teams that Westfall's beaten, and they haven't won a game yet. And that's the same thing that's going with Uniota. So This is a really big game for Westfall if they want to make that push to get in the playoffs.
The other one more thing, and we'll take another break. I don't think it'll happen, you would think, because Westfall sets their 4-1. Zane Trace has to recognize. But next week, everybody's kind of talking about, hey, next week, Zane Trace Unioto. Everybody's going to do the game. Everybody's going to be there. That's for the SVC championship. Zane Trace, and this is an age-old thing, 16-year-old kids, you cannot look ahead of this game. And maybe they look, of course, we knew Huntington was tough. They I don't know if they looked ahead, were in trouble last week. But looking at tonight, you cannot look ahead of Westfall. The Unioto game won't be that big a difference, won't make that much difference and be that much more important if you lose tonight. So I think Zane Trace coaching staff has to do the job of these young men to look. Next week's next week. We don't care about Unioto. We've got to beat Westfall. They're 4-1. They're same tied with us, first place.
Yeah, and sometimes that's a hard thing to do for high school kids. Everybody keeps putting in Unioto, Zane Trace.
Yes.
Well, you're playing a 4-1 Westfall team also. You're not going to win by just showing up tonight, right? You have to come out here. You have to block the same way up front. You got to win the line of scrimmage. You got to open up holes for Bryce Johnson and Jaden Higgins and Gunnar McCullough. And like you said, you never know what's going to happen when you put 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old boys out on a football field.
Glad to have you along tonight on the home of the SVC, 100.9 WXIZ, Hank FM. Our game tonight brought to you by Tomlinson Insurance, your local McDonald's restaurants, Ross County Banking Center, Chillicothe Signs and Screen Printing, Greenwalk Lawn and Landscape, The Lunchbox, Recreations, Kingston National Bank, and Monroe's Collision. I'm glad to have Jaron back for 2 reasons. Number one, I never get the Collision shirt to anyone, as Jaron does that every week when he was with me. And number 2, I always leave our Hank FM sign and banner where we're playing at, and Jaron's a little better at remembering that. So for those 2 reasons, we had it picked out last week. It actually was a defensive back, Shanks for Piketon, did such a good job in the red zone in the first half, but by the time Piketon had already left by the time I got down there. But we do have a T-shirt for Monroe's Collision of the game. Glad to have you along tonight. Beautiful night for football here on week number 6. You're listening to the Tomlinson Insurance SVC Game of the Week on WXIZ. Back with more pregame after this.
At Tomlinson Insurance, we've been protecting families, farms, and businesses since 1853. From auto, home, farm, life, or health, we tailor coverage that fits your world. With multiple carriers to meet your insurance needs. Real people, real service, local agents who can answer the phone and care when it matters most. Tomlinson Insurance. Let our history be your future. Call or stop by today.
Oh, my mower won't start. I know what to do. Take it to Matheny's Small Engine Repair, located on Savageville School Road in between Jackson and Chillicothe. Matheny's is now an official Encore dealer with both new commercial and residential models on display. They'll get you up and mowing.
The Lunchbox in Chillicothe, home of the famous pretzel sandwich. Enjoy all-day breakfast, fresh lemonade shake-ups, and a big menu for a small space. Visit us at 24 East Water Street or call 740-775-8624. Delivery, dine-in, and carry-out are available.
Westfall back on the field. Here come the Pioneers with the ZT flag coming back on the field of their red pants and blue jerseys. Westfall in all white tonight with their red helmets. Here at Zane Trace, Greg Begum, Jaron Cox. I don't like doing this because I'll forget, but I worked some golf tournaments this week, and Zane Trace girls, outstanding golf team. I believe they won their sectional. They play at Crown Hill, I think, one of the days this week in the district. Chance to see them, and they have some, and I wished I remembered all the names, outstanding
Mary
golfers.
Helber, I think, was one of them.
Yeah, they have several that played very, very well in that win. Westfall Golf has been, they've been to the state tournament how many years? I think they finished just out, but their boys won their sectional. Westfall boys extremely, I'm not so sure. They didn't have 3 guys shoot under 40 on the Westfall Golf team. And you know, I know Unioto's girls golf team got out to the districts as well. It's good to go. You know, you wouldn't think somewhat we've had, but there were some outstanding individuals in golf out of the SVC.
Yeah, there was. I know that for Westfall, I think his name is Brendan Bigler. I think I'm pronouncing
brothers.
Yeah,
they had brothers.
There's brothers. I think one of them may have won Player of the Year, Greg. I'm not 100% sure.
He did. That's correct.
And he's been really good the last few years. The girl from Piketon, she's really good. Layla Kelly. She's been in some junior PGA Tour stuff, and there seems to be a lot of good golf athletes around the area right now. So we're
Westfall
getting ready for kickoff.
Westfall won the toss. They elected to receive, and they'll get the ball first. You know, both teams kind of geared up, you'd think, offensively is what we would expect. We shall see. So they will return it. Zane Trace kicking it up. Both teams have good kickers. And I believe it is Preston Lane kicking off. High end over end. We're underway. The ball hits it to 15, takes a side bounce down to around the 13-yard line. Takes Westfall a little while to pick it up, and they're down immediately. I don't know if he meant to, but a very effective kick, Jaron. It kind of looked like a wedge shot. It kind of stopped and spun around, and it got right between the Westfall players. They didn't get to it very quickly.
Yeah, I was just sitting here thinking as I was watching that kick, I feel like it might have been the Carolina Panthers. They've been doing that with that new NFL kick rule. If it goes in the end zone, it goes to 35. It's kind of like a little wedge kick in between the return guys right there, and it kind of bounced sideways. And nice job by Zane Trace on the coverage. Really didn't get any yards on the return right there.
Picked it up around the 12, got to the 20, so Westfall starts 1st and 10 at the 20. They split out Landon Sparks to the left. 3 people in the backfield. They actually have a Runner to the right of Eberle and a runner behind Eberle. They'll give it to the second man through off the right side. Around the corner, he's got running room, 25-30. Out of bounds and a first down across the 30-yard line. Got to the outside on the carry. Senior Joey Wright got around the corner.
That was a nice first play right there by Westfall. Looks like he may have stepped out before he got the first down, right about the 28-yard line. But, you know, we didn't say this before the game, but Westfall did win the toss, and they wanted the football.
They wanted the football.
So, obviously, Coach Stepp has a plan right here off the bat. We're stepping off something.
Well, I think Zane Trace got called for a late hit after Joey Wright stepped out of bounds. There was a hit, so you add 15 more yards. So he got 8 on the carry, 15 more from the 28 out to the 43. And Westfall off to a good start. First play, first down. It's Quinn Eberle, who took over halftime of that Week 3 game after Pottix broke his collarbone. Very effective quarterback. He'll run it himself, tries to find an opening, gets away from the first tackler, falls forward, and got 2 to the 45. Oh, let's give him 3 to the 46. He stretched out forward. Just a straight snap in the pistol. Eberle kind of looks for his hole, waits a second, tries to pick out a hole, and he got straight ahead for 3.
Yeah, it looked like it was just kind of a read option right there. You know, if he's reading the defensive end, it's going with the tailback, he's going to keep the ball or vice versa. And he kept the ball right there. And, you know, 3 yards. You get 3 yards every carry, you know, you're doing some good things.
You get the Westfall linemen. I don't do a very good job of that. Van Dyne is the big left tackle coming out. And they use a tight end on the right, split to the left to Sparks. They have 3 receivers to the right, only 1 running back. They'll give it on a delay straight ahead, and breaking the tackle now actually went backwards after he broke the first tackle. Well, the odds are just say right, because you know it's going to be Eli or Joey. That was Joey Wright again.
Yeah, that was a nice job by the Zane Trace D-line right there. Kind of won that battle up front and was able to wrap him up. And I believe that was number 77, Blake Brower, that grabbed a hold of him first right there and waited for a couple of his teammates to help him out.
No gain on the play. Let's call it 3rd down and 7 for the Mustangs. Initial drive just underway. Just a couple, 2.5 minutes into the ball game. Now coming out wide to the left side is Waylon Moore. They bring 3 receivers to the left side, 2 split, 1 in the slot. Eberle back to pass, looking, still looking, throws it deep down the left sideline, got a man wide open and knocked away at the last second. Great defensive play by Hartley. He was open, looked like he was going to catch it. Hartley, I think, came from his safety spot, Jaron, and knocked it away.
Yeah, it was. I think it really took the Zane Trace defense a little by surprise throwing the ball right there. Grady Stewart was out here in coverage, and his first 2 steps were in like it was going to be a run. I was like, whoa, I got to get back in coverage right there. But the ball just kind of floated in the air. Nice job by Hartley to come over and knock it down.
Eberle, I'm sure, has worked since he didn't originally was the quarterback. Good snap. Westfall will punt it away. Booming, spiraling punt all the way down inside the 20. Taken back at the 10-yard line by Zane Trace. Retreats to the 10,
Fumble.
out to the 12. Lost
Fumble.
the football and fumbled, and I think Westfall recovers. That was Grady Stewart who made the mistake. First of all, I think had he let it go, it would have gone into the end zone. Tried to bring it out, and he fumbles. And in the first big turnover against the Pioneers, Westfall gets it.
Yeah, Grady, he eluded that first guy. The guy didn't go down. He stayed on his feet and kind of came behind him and punched the ball out. And I was at the perfect angle, seen that ball, and just bounced 2 or 3 times. Nice job by Westfall's punt team right there to jump on the loose ball, and they're starting this drive inside the red zone.
Yeah, at the 14 in the red zone, so Westfall have another chance at it. Eberle, the quarterback. Now Eli Wright in the backfield. Now he's going to come out. No, he's getting the play, I guess. They're bringing another player in. Somebody to come in to play tight end. Under center, pitch to the right side. Joey Wright on the carry at the line of scrimmage, being drugged down, no gain. Nice job, Zane Trace defense. Pushed it, spread it to the outside, and that time Wright couldn't get around the corner.
Yeah, Gunnar McCullough did a nice job right there setting the edge. Did not let him get that outside corner. Took him down for, looks like, a 1-yard loss. And a good first down play by the Zane Trace defense.
Mark at the 15. He did lose a yard. 2nd down and 11. Westfall can get a first down at the 4. Mentioned a moment ago, the left tackle, the left guard is Ross Callahan. two big guys over on the left side. Now they're going to run with the tight end to that side as well, put him in motion to the left side. Eberle going to run it himself. Lakes for a spot, tries to get to the left side, moves forward, broke through the initial defense to the 10. So give him 5 yards to the 10. It'll bring up third down. I would assume they're in 4-down territory, although I think Deskins is certainly able to kick a field goal at this range.
I was watching him in warm-ups. He was putting it through with about 5 or 10 yards more when he was kicking from the 15-yard line. So I think they're definitely in field goal range. Westfall's been effective right here with Eberle just getting the ball and wildcat formation and just running with it. That's been their best offensive play.
Eli Wright is flanked to the right side. Pistol formation, Eberle calls signals. Now he looks back over to the bench. Joey Wright behind him, but he is not under center, back in the pistol. And now Westfall says, let's talk it over. Timeout Mustangs. They're at the 10-yard line trying to get in for the first score. You're listening to the Tomlinson Insurance SVC Game of the Week on WXIZ.
At Tomlinson Insurance, we've been protecting families, farms, and businesses since 1853. From auto, home, farm, life, or health, we tailor coverage that fits your world. With multiple carriers to meet your insurance needs. Real people, real service, local agents who can answer the phone and care when it matters most. Tomlinson Insurance. Let our history be your future. Call or stop by today.
10-yard line. Still the pistol, 3 receivers to the right. Eberle rolls to the right, may want to throw. Looks, now he's going to run with it, and close to the first down, made a quick decision once he got to the outside, and he is short.
It looks like he picked up about 5 yards, maybe about a yard short.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're at the 5. They need to get to the 4, so 4th and 1 for the Mustangs.
I feel like we should go for it here,
I would think 1 yard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
like what Coach Stepp did right there. He got Eberle out on the edge, option to pass or throw, didn't like what he's seen, and tucked the ball away. And
once he tucks, he's so quick.
Yes.
Was able to move forward. So 4th down and 1. Eberle's going to move up under center. They go to a power I formation with the 2 rights behind Eberle. 4th down and 1. Second man through, and he's going to be stuffed.
Gunnar McCullough.
20/20 hindsight, I'm not sure. They gave it to the second man in the eye. Eberle was under center, and Zane Trace was coming, and they were penetrating before they ever got the ball handed off. I thought they might go directly with the Wildcat to Eberle.
I did too. When they went under center, I was kind of thinking maybe a tush-push type of deal right there. But Zane Trace has shown that if they're going to turn around and hand it to one of the right boys, that it's going to be a long night. And Westfall's been effective getting the ball outside and with a quarterback run here early in the game.
Yeah, they went under center, gave it to the second man through in an I formation, and he got stuffed. Out back to the 10, from the 10-yard line.
Fumble.
Straight ahead. Zane Trace is going to have to start hanging on to the football. No gain on the play. I'm not even sure who carried if they lost the ball.
I think they lost it on the snap right there, Greg. It's what it looked like.
McCullough quarterback, the 2 running backs, the big strong guy Bryce Johnson and the quick guy Jaden Higgins. They're in the backfield.
Zane Trace in a tight formation.
Yep. They're going to go 2 tight ends, quarterback under center. McCullough, second man through right side. Johnson, nowhere to go. He's stuffed at the 10-yard line. 3rd down and 10. Zane Trace going nowhere.
I feel like they have an advantage when they have Bryce Johnson running the football, but it's not really, there's no element of surprise when you have all 11 players within like 7 or 8 yards of each other, and you got like a double tight end and double wingback. I still think they need to spread the field out to give him some space.
Hey, Westfall, they use those 3 inside linebackers, and it's Eli Wright, Ricky Hanley, and Joey Wright. But your 3 inside line, they get to the line of scrimmage very quickly, and now we got a timeout. Zane Trace says, let's call a timeout on 3rd and 10, deep in our own territory. We'll keep it right here. Remind you our game tonight, once again, Brought to you by all of our great sponsors of the Tomlinson Insurance Game of the Week. Tomlinson Insurance, of course, your local McDonald's restaurants, Ross County Banking Center, Chillicothe Signs and Screen Printing, Greenwald Lawn and Landscape, The Lunchbox, Recreations, Kingston National Bank, and Monroe's Collision.
Boy, I can see the fume coming off of Coach Ware's face right there. They've touched the football 3 times. A fumble on the punt return, a fumble on the snap, and a play that gained 0 yards. They couldn't get set up on this play right, called a timeout, and he went running out there, and he is not a happy camper right now.
Yeah, as I said,
can't look ahead.
No, you can't. And we don't know that, but
no.
You wonder sometimes because Zane Trace defensively have made a couple big plays, but nowhere on the quick offense here in the early going. Now they move a couple people around. McConnell will stay under center on 3rd and 10. Pitch to the right side. They run the sweep with Johnson. Gets a couple 3 yards and pretty good hitting. Good tackling by Westfall on that one. Coming up very quickly. Got 3 or 4, but Zane Trace going to have to punt the football. They're going to go 3 and out on their first series.
Nice job by Westfall right there. Zane Trace changed their formation, changed the side of their tight end and wing back. Westfall adjusted their defensive line, and a nice gang tackle right there by the Westfall defense to create a 3 and out.
It'll be Hudson Williams punting, standing at his own 2. Good snap, waits a moment, kicks it away. Not a real good punt. High in the air to the right sidelines and out of bounds. We had a punt last week. One of the Piketon's punts almost came in the press box. It was so sideways. Put a young freshman in. Give him credit. Next time he did a better job. That was not a great punt, out of bounds. Line of scrimmage was the 14. And going to spot it out around the 40-yard line of Zane Trace, 41. Yeah. So 16, 20, maybe 27-yard punt for Williams. And Westfall again with great field position.
Yeah, here early on, it looks like both defenses are prepared for what to expect. Now we need to see what type of adjustment both teams are going to make on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, Westfall had 1st and 10 at the Zane Trace 14, couldn't get it in. They'll start it to 41 this time. And only the quarterback, Everly, back. They put a man in motion right. They'll give it to him on the jet sweep. Right, looks to get around the right side, gets right around the line of scrimmage, and now a late flag.
Looks like that's probably about the holding zone.
Yeah, it's on the tackle, and holding against Westfall. Wright picked up 3 yards, but holding took place at the 40. That'll bring it back to midfield. They'll replay 1st down, but Westfall's going to be 1st and 19 right at midfield. Of course, a turf field, beautiful turf field here at Zane Trace. Greg Begum, Jaron Cox here on the home of SCC football, WXIZ 100.9.
Nice job by the ZTD line right here. They, both D lines have played well, really. But other than that first play, that first handoff by Westfall to Joey Wright, where he picked up 8 yards, Westfall really hadn't gotten a whole lot since then.
They're going to split out more to the left side. 2 wide receivers. Now they put a man in motion to the left. Fake it. Going to run with Eberly straight ahead to the 45 and down near the original line of scrimmage. That's what he's so dangerous at. He pauses, waits to see where the hole is, kind of a quarterback option all by himself. And again, I know I've said this a million times, but Eberly has such great speed. He's
quick.
If he finds a seam, he's quick through it, and he picked up 9 on that one. He'll be back to 2nd and 10.
That's been their best offensive weapon so far, is when Eberly has kept it and run, whether it's been a design run or on a scramble, he tucks it away and runs. He has 22 yards on 4 carries so far.
2nd and 10. Now Eberly's going to go up under center. Pitches to the left, sweep left, cuts it back inside, room for right, spins away from one. Nice tackle for the second tackler. Great job by number 25. Peyton Arthurs made a great tackle. Looked like Wright was going to be able to cut it against the grain after he cut it up.
Yeah, that was a big tackle. If he didn't make that tackle, he probably had 20 more yards right there.
Great tackle by Arthur. Joey Wright picks up from the 41 to the 38. Only got 3 yards on it. But it looked like he was going to get 10 or 15.
3rd down and 7 right here. We got almost down to 3.5 minutes in the first quarter already, and I don't think we've had a pass yet, have we, Greg?
Yeah, they threw the pass deep down. Everly.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
On 3rd and long, the first series, threw it down the left side, knocked away by the safety. Now 3rd and 7. Eberle fakes, looks, throws it over the middle, got him in wide open, and he catches it at the 10, at the 5. Touchdown Mustangs. Landon Sparks. Zane Trace got sucked up. Sparks got behind him. Nice, pretty good passes. Eberle laid it up high enough for Sparks to get it. And that is a 38-yard touchdown pass for Westfall, and they are up quickly 6-0.
A nice job. Fake the handoff. The safeties and the cornerbacks kind of bid on it a little bit, stayed right where they were, and by that point, Landon Sparks was already 3 or 4 yards behind him. A nice throw by Quinn Eberle.
Deskins on the extra point attempt, and a line drive. Did it get up high enough? It did. It's up and good. Timeout on the field. 3:31 to play in the first quarter. Westfall 7, Zane Trace nothing. The Thompson Insurance SVC Game of the Week on Hank FM.
Integrity.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people. All to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank. Working together, building success.
Greg Bacon, Jaron Cox back with you, back at Zane Trace. Westfall took the opening kick, picked up a first down, got out around the 50, wound up punting the football. Zane Trace fumbled it. Westfall started at the 14, stopped on 4th and 1 inside the 10-yard line. Zane Trace 3 and out. Westfall started at the 41-yard line of Zane Trace, and touchdown pass of 36. Is that what I said?
38.
38. Oh, that's close. I don't know if a step might have, that pass to Sparks was on the inside. Kick comes down, taken by Zane Trace at the 20, straight ahead, 30. Cuts back to the 40, out to the 45, down the sidelines, 40 of Westfall, and out of bounds. So that may get the Pioneers going. That's Jaden Higgins. Last man had an angle on him, but he returns it all the way from the 20, 30, 40, 45, maybe?
39-yard line.
Yeah. So they'll be at the 39.
41-yard return.
So Zane Trace, only possession they had, started at their own 10. They ran a tight formation, got nowhere. They got 4 yards in 3 plays.
This is a big drive right here. Zane Trace has kind of looked really flat here in the first 9 minutes of this game. And Westfall showing they're willing to throw the ball tonight. Zane Trace needs to do something right here to give their defense a break. And they're back in this tight formation on offense.
Yeah, 2 running backs, under center McCullough from the 39 of Westfall. McCullough straight ahead, nothing there. Westfall just stuffs it. And nowhere to go. Bryce Johnson trying to go off the right side. And Westfall a 4-man front, but again, I know I'm beating a dead horse. They're 3 linebackers. They were used 3 inside linebackers. And you don't run inside much against.
Yeah.
You know, way back when they gave up 42 to Circleville, Circleville did a good job on the quarterback keep getting around the edge against Westfall.
Well, that you make a good point. I was just getting ready to mention they just had success with Higgins out in space right there on the kick return. Maybe that's something they need to look at. They're not really spreading the field out. They got 10 guys all within about 7 yards.
2nd down and 10. Second man through on the end around, a wing back around, not any running room. Now straight ahead. Nice cut inside. Make something out of nothing for Hudson Williams.
Nice job by Hudson Williams right there.
Yeah,
it looked like he was going to get nothing, and he saw a little crease, bolted through there, and picked up 6 yards.
3rd down, big 3rd down. Let's call it 3rd and 5 from the 34. Yeah, Williams was like a flanker spot, and he came around on a reverse. He's at that right wing position on 3rd and 5. McCullough, Westfall almost jumped off sides, did not penetrate the neutral zone, and now McCullough looks to the sideline.
Look at the box, Greg. They got almost 10 guys in the box.
Yeah, everybody's within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage for Westfall. I take that back. And now they're going to call timeout. 2nd timeout already used by Zane Trace. 1:49 to play first quarter. 7-0 Westfall on top. We'll back in 30 seconds with the Thomason Insurance SVC Game of the Week.
Remember a loved one with warmth.
Thank you. You've been watching SVC Game of the Week, presented to you by Tomlinson Insurance.
Everybody else for Westfall was inside of 5 yards of the line of scrimmage.
It's the same
They're
way
going to have
right
to throw
here.
the ball eventually.
Yeah.
Same
Or
thing.
put 2 or 3 receivers out. Spread the field.
Man in motion is Williams. Comes to the right side on 3rd and 5. McCullough pitches right side. Cutting back inside is Johnson. Gets to the 30, breaks a tackle, falls forward. I think he got the first down.
Yeah, I think he did. And again, I feel like Bryce Johnson got the first down right there just with determination. There really wasn't a big hole. He just kind of put his shoulder down and pushed his way through. I really feel like Zane Trace needs to spread the field out, give some space for Higgins and Johnson. You know, when you line up that close, everybody knows what you're doing. Westfall has 9, 10 guys right there in the box. You're not even really posing a threat on the outside.
At the 28-yard line, 1st and 10, new set of downs for the Pioneers. Under center, McCullough. Second man through, that is, I thought it was a fumble for a moment, but instead it's a celebration by Joey Wright on the tackle of Higgins.
Yeah, and that Westfall D-line is winning that battle right now, Greg. They're getting past the offensive line of Zane Trace and really doing a good job of tackling, much better tackling than what we've seen a few weeks ago, grabbing by the legs and holding on. And, you know, the other guys are getting there quickly. They're just winning that battle up front.
After watching Joey Wright play linebacker, I think Westfall missed, when he was out, they missed him more on the defense than the offense.
Absolutely.
2 running backs, 2nd and 10. McCullough fakes. Now he's going to run it himself, get around the outside. He's to the 25, cuts back in, collides with a Westfall defender near the 20-yard line, picks up 6 or 7 yards. Fake that time, kept it on the quarterback boot around the left end, and they're going to mark him down out of bounds at the 21. Let's call it 3rd down and 4. They got to, it's 21, maybe 3.
You know, you sit here and you look at the plays that Zane Trace has had success in. It's been to the outside. That for 7 yards right there. Hudson Williams on a sweep for 6. That's where Zane Trace is having their success. It's not up the middle.
3rd down and 3 for the Pioneers. A little bit of a mixed handoff. Straight ahead is Johnson, and amazing. He was stopped at the line of scrimmage, and it kind of looked like a tunnel underneath. There was just guys falling off of him, and he managed to squirm ahead and get down around the 16 or 17-yard line. It looked like Westfall had him stopped after a yard, but he gets the first down, just stayed down low underneath the tacklers that time.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to hit the end of the first quarter, but
I think.
Well, it's going to be close.
Mark at the 16, first a new set of downs for Zane Trace. Clock moves to 7 seconds, and they are not going to run another play. Going to look to the sidelines, 3, 2, 1, and that ends the first quarter. First quarter complete here at Zane Trace. After 1, Westfall 7, Zane Trace nothing. You're listening to the Thomason Insurance SVC Game of the Week.
Looking for a job that works with your life? Your local McDonald's is now hiring. Join a team that's all about flexibility, growth, and a fun, fast-paced work environment.
At McDonald's, we're more than just burgers. We're part of the community. From supported local events to helping neighbors in need, we're proud to give back.
Apply today at your local Chillicothe or Waverly McDonald's or McHire.com. We'd love to have you on the team.
Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. I'm loving it.
You've been watching SVC Game of the Week, presented to you by Tomlinson Insurance.
Property maintenance. Call the experts at Greenwald 740-701-6744. Greenwald Lawn and Landscape, a proud sponsor of SVC Sports.
Greg Bigham and Jaron Cox here at Zane Trace. Westfall leads 7-0. Start the second quarter. Westfall trying to hold out the Pioneers. Zane Trace on their first drive, they went 3 and out. This drive, after a great kickoff return, began in Westfall territory, and they're down to the 16.
Slowly and surely, Greg, this drive is starting to feel like a drive that Zane Trace wants to have. They really struggled there their first 4 or 5 plays, but it feels like the last 2 or 3 have been more of what they want.
Williams at the slot position right off the left end. They're going to run straight ahead with Johnson. Cuts back inside, falls forward, keeps his balance, and
Fumble.
lost the football, I think. Was he down?
I think they called him down. There is a penalty flag close to the line of scrimmage.
Well, a lot of stuff happening. Johnson got hit, put his hand down to keep his balance, and got down to the 5-yard line. Then there was a scramble for the football.
Chop block.
Personal foul chop block called against Zane Trace. So they called him down inside down around the 11. But now the chop block's going to bring it all the way back outside the 30-yard line. A major penalty.
Now that Zane Trace is going the other direction, Greg, we kind of get a better look of what Zane Trace is doing when they're lining up. They're overloading the right side of the line. They basically have the center and then a left guard, and their other offensive linemen are on the right side of the line along with their tight end. Of course, they switch it up now, but.
Running the unbalance. They got one wide receiver to the left, but fairly close. Now in motion is Johnson, moves to the right side on 1st and long. They run a counter to McCullough straight ahead. He faked, and he's going to go, maybe got a yard. They faked a pitch to Higgins, and then McCullough tried to go straight ahead after tried to get Westfall to chase Higgins, and then him move straight up the middle, but not much running room for Gunner. And he gets maybe a yard, but not much. Second down, they have to get inside almost to the 7. So they've got 23 yards to go for a first down. Second down for the Pioneers. Just underway second quarter. Westfall leads at 7-0. Stay under center with McCullough. Higgins in motion. They're all bunched up. They pitch it to Johnson to the 30. Cuts inside 25. Over top of one of the defenders, falls forward. Tackle was made by Eberle, who went low on Johnson. Johnson went over top of him and landed forward down around the 15. So he picked up about 15 yards. But
that was
again,
a nice design right there, Greg. Yeah, they brought Higgins over in motion and had Hudson Williams in front of him blocking along with Higgins, and a pitch to Johnson, and picked up 15 yards. Really, if Johnson could have kept his balance, he was headed for the end zone right there. But 3rd and 9. This is a big play.
Down to they're at the 15. Said 3rd and 9. McCullough under center. Everybody pretty much in tight. They send Higgins in motion. McCullough fakes, looks, had a man open over the end of the end zone, and now incomplete. He had a man quick down the middle and then went to the left corner. Good defense by the Mustangs. They had it covered well. Tried to hit Higgins in the corner of the end zone. Knocked away by the defense of the Mustangs. And now 4th down from the 14 or 15, right on the 15 of Westfall. 4th down. So will they?
Looks like they're bringing in a couple receivers here.
Would be a 32-yard field goal, so they will go for it.
St. Trace goes.
They got Hartley out to the right side along with Higgins. Hartley made a couple nice catches in week 1. Now they finally first time go to the pistol. McCullough looks, starts to run, now looks over the middle, got a man, and he dropped it. Over the middle, he had a man, and in and out of the hands of Hudson Williams. Nice fake by McCullough. He faked, stepped to like was going to run, stopped, threw it over the middle. And Williams had his hands on it about 8 yards deep in the end zone, but he couldn't haul it in. And now it'll be Westfall ball leading 7-0, and they'll start out at their own 15-yard line.
The personal foul, yes.
Yeah, the chop block killed him.
Yeah, the chop block absolutely killed him on that drive. They were moving the football, and that 15-yard penalty really set them back on that drive.
Even Holding's 10, but the 15 put him in like a 27 yards to go for a first down. They couldn't quite recover. Almost scored, but did not. Eberle, the quarterback, 3 receivers to the right from the 15. They hand it off up the middle. and pushing his way out across the 20. Good blocking by Westfall out in front.
Was that Joey?
I think so, trying to get, that was Van Dyne. Kanan Van Dyne out in front on the block. They go 15 to the 21. Pickup of 6. So it'll be second down and 4. Second down and 4 for the Mustangs. They go with Eberle again in the pistol. Second down and 4. Runs it himself left side. Cuts in and falls forward near the first down at the 25.
The one thing I like about Quinn Eberle is when he gets hit, he is always leaning forward. He's always leaning forward and getting that extra yard or two after Zane Trace starts to make the tackle. And so now you got like 3rd and inches here for Westfall. I was just saying, Greg, that the thing I like about Eberle, it seems like he finishes runs always going forward. He's quick getting through the hole and getting that extra half yard or yard.
Yeah, only, as you just said, only about a half yard to go. Just almost touching the 25. They'll go under center with Eberle. Run the quarterback sneak this time and falls forward for a yard and I think got the first down.
Yeah. The one thing that's interesting is Westfall is, putting like 3 receivers out there, spreading the field out, doing a good job. Zane Trace is not matching them with their defensive backs. They only got like 2 cornerbacks out here covering against 3 receivers. So it'll be interesting to see if Coach Stepp picks up on that and maybe tries to take advantage, run some different pass routes out there and throw to an open receiver at some point.
Brand new set of downs for the Mustangs. They send Eli Wright in motion. Eberle's going to run it off the left guard out to the left tackle. And as Jaron mentioned, Eberle always falls forward. Was hit after about a yard, but he fell forward for a couple out to the 30. And what looked like a 1-yard gain is about 3.5 yards. Second down, Mustangs, clock moving. We talked about both teams running the ball a lot. This could be a fast-moving game, and we're down to just 7:45 to play until halftime. 7-0 Westfall. They have certainly controlled the time on running on the possessions. Of course, that was partly because of the fumbled punt by Zane Trace. But.
Yeah, I mean, you look what's happened. Zane Trace fumbled the punt. They've had 2 15-yard penalties, and that's really been the difference in the game has been Westfall's starting position.
Eberle looks to the sidelines. Now they bring Eli Wright in off left end. He's by himself. Eberle is. Looks, wants to throw. Now he's being rushed. He's going to run it himself. There's going to be a holding call. Or, well, maybe not. One of the Westfall offensive linemen lost his helmet.
We had a bunch of stuff happen right there. We had a flag, a loss of a helmet. It almost looked like he lost the football on the edge, but I think they said he was out of bounds.
Sutton Neff was the lineman who lost his helmet. St. Trace got good pressure, but then Eberle made a quick move and broke away from the pressure, took off around the left side. But the reason he was able to break away, there was holding on one of the Westfall linemen back there. So they're going to bring it back. It would have been 3rd and 5 where Eberle wound up with the carry on the scramble. Yeah, now they'll bring it back.
About the 17-yard line, maybe?
Yeah, it looks like exactly right about the 17. It'll be... Well, they've got 3rd down, but it should be second down, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I believe it should be. Kind of behind the chains right here, but
7:15 to play until halftime. Next week, we're back at Unioto. These Zane Trace Pioneers at Unioto. But if things go like they are so far in this ball game, you may have to look to week number 10 when Westfall plays Unioto. But who knows?
Yeah. Zane Trace is really just hurting themselves. 2 15-yard penalties, a fumble punt return.
Westfall brings it out. It is second down, second and long. They send a receiver wide out to the right side. That is Moore. Eberle is going to run it himself, and that time Zane Trace a much better job of closing up the hole. Faked the handoff and then took off on the quarterback keep up inside right guard, but Zane Trace closed it up quickly.
And Zane Trace is playing similar defense to what Westfall is. They're really loading that box up also.
Hudson Williams made that, they made that tackle. Good job.
Right. But I think the difference is Westfall's having at least 2 receivers out there on every play, and so the field is spread out. It's kind of opened up a few holes, but the other thing is, you know, as a defense, if you're bringing all those guys up in the box, if there's a crease right through there, there's nobody in the back to kind of cover you. So Zane Trace does have Higgins back now that we're like 3rd and about 20.
Quinn Eberly, the quarterback, single back with him in a pistol, back to pass. Eberly looks. Now he wants to scramble. Still looking, rolling to his right. Still rolling to his right. Throws to the sidelines and overthrew his man at the 35. Would have been shy of the first down. And his intended receiver to the right side was Mercurio. Nice job. I tell you, you can tell that Quinn Eberly, we saw him in the second half against Circleville. Now they saw him down at Paint Valley. But they've had weeks to practice with him, and he's becoming more adept. Looks for his receiver and doesn't put a whole lot of zip on him, but he's got a pretty good touch.
Yeah, absolutely. He looks a lot more comfortable back there than what he has in the past. So Zane Trace has an opportunity right here to get some good field position.
Looks like back deep again is Stewart. He fumbled one earlier. Punt is a low punt. Now takes a big Westfall bounce, and Stewart just stays away from it. That ball was about 20 yards in the air and then bounced another 25 or 30. The line drive punt, end over end, and bounces into Zane Trace territory. Yeah, if he obviously wouldn't have been up had they been able to.
Stewart was really far back. He was back from like a 50-yard punt right there. I thought he should have been a lot closer. But
if he would have moved up, he'd had an easy chance, I think, to catch it on the bounce, and you get it at Westfall's 40-yard line maybe. But
those are just some hidden yards right there.
Absolutely. They're going to start at their own 43. Good field position, but they probably cost them 20 yards on the bounce.
Again, Zane Trace, but the way both of these teams play, you know, this may be their last possession of the first half. They need to get something on the board here to build a little bit of momentum.
McCullough stays under center, 2 running backs. Higgins and Johnson. They're going to give it around the left side, and big tackle. That'll be a close to Monroe's collision.
Joey Wright
coming up from the linebacker spot. That was a wing back reverse, I think, to Hartley. And he gets maybe 2 yards to the 45. Call it 2nd down and 8.
He thought he had a crease. Then he tried to turn the corner, and Mr. Wright said, hello.
That was a form tackle by Joey Wright. He met him head on and drove him backwards. 2nd down and 8. Hartley comes out to the left side, splits out a little wider this time, but they still got the wing back, 2 tight ends. Left guard, Johnson stopped, gets by Wright. Now help out on the tackle by Hanley.
I'll tell you, Wright, I think you hit it on the head earlier, Greg. Westfall missed Wright more on defense against Circleville than what they did on offense because he is a strong kid and he's doing a really good job of getting his arms around Bryce Johnson's legs and not letting him go. And he's had a fantastic game on the defensive side of the ball so far.
3rd and 5 after that carry by Johnson. I'd say Bryce did a nice job. Should have been stopped. No gain by Wright. He was able to pick up 2.
Yeah.
3rd and 5. McCullough under center. Zane Trace will pitch it to the right side. Fumble in the backfield. Loose football, and I think Westfall got it. Higgins never got the pitch from McCullough, and right now Westfall is dominating his football game. Zane Trace looks like they are 1-4 rather than 4-1. They're just not playing. I give Westfall credit. They're just putting a lot of pressure defensively, and Zane Trace can't get it going. Johnson tried to catch it, lost it. It was on the ground. It bounced around 2 or 3 times, and Westfall gets it at the Zane Trace 40.
Yeah, just bad football right now. Bad football.
So it's up to the Zane Trace defense. They rose up when last fumble recovered by Westfall was at the Zane Trace 14. They held him out. And now they're taking over fumble recovery for the Mustangs at the Zane Trace 40. And Quinn Eberly will come up under center. Send an extra man to the left side. He's got kind of an I formation. They pitch it around the left side on the carry to the 35, 25, 20 down the sidelines. I think it was Joey Wright on the carry, and he picks up big yardage in the 1st down.
Looks like that's about
line of scrimmage
14 yards.
Yeah, line of scrimmage is a 40 down to the 26. 14 yards on a 1st down Westfall.
No
Fourth, yeah, it went out of bounds. 4:37 to play till halftime. They're quickly ready to go again. Right, left side, he's got 5 more. Just a quick pitch behind him, and almost kind of a zone sweep. They just send the lineman out, let Joey Wright kind of pick his hole. That he went out and then cut back in, and his knee went down a little before that. We're going to give him 3, not 5. Second down and 7. Now Westfall comes back to the huddle this time. Takes a little more time. Clock down to 4:09 to play till halftime. 7-0. Westfall leads it. Touchdown pass, the only score of the game. That was from Eberly to Sparks. Second down and 7. Eberly, right side, a little bit of running, now closed quickly. Good job, Zane Trace defense, closed up quickly. In on the tackle, coming up nicely there was Lane Reeves. Was right on the carry again. And no gain on that. Now 3rd down and 7.
Yeah, really.
And I think they're going to maybe go back to that pass they did earlier.
Yeah, I wouldn't be afraid to throw the ball or have Eberly roll out, give him a run-pass option. He's got the quickness. If I was Zane Trace, I would try to keep him in the pocket if he drops back to pass.
Yeah, they're not going to get it. Plays down the play clock 6 seconds. They're going to have to call timeout, I believe. Still talking to the quarterback. And they will call timeout before the penalty. 3:11 to play until halftime. Westfall 7-0 over Zane Trace. The Tomlinson Insurance SVC Game of the Week.
Our employees
30.
certainly get the credit.
Two lost fumbles here, and their other one good drive where they were getting close to scoring. They had a 15-yard penalty for a chop block. It took them out of scoring position, so Westfall trying to take advantage after they recovered the second fumble, and they have a 3rd and 7 inside the 25 of Zane Trace. Called the timeout, set up their play. Eli Wright back with Eberly off his left hip. Eberly takes it, going to run it himself, cuts it back up the middle, and taken down at the 20. Picked a couple up that time. Yeah, so it's going to be 4th down for Westfall.
Yeah, the fact that they ran that right there, I think that pretty much told you they were going for it on 4th down. 4th and 5 right here.
They're at the 20. Actually need to get to about the 16, and they're going to line up for a field goal.
Wow.
Deskins, he's got a good foot. Carson Deskins, a junior.
Yards?
Yep. 37 yards. Snap is good. Deskins' kick is not good. It is low and off to the left. Good pressure from Higgins from the outside. And Westfall not able to convert on the 37-yard field goal. They'll turn it back over to Zane Trace. I think Zane Trace will, that field goal attempt went into the end zone, so they'll have it at their own 20. 2:23 left. I think Zane Trace has attempted how much? 2 passes?
They are 0 for 2.
Yeah, they had the one in the corner of the end zone. It was covered pretty well. Then on 4th down, threw it over the middle, and Williams couldn't hang on to it.
Remember that play right there, Greg, that missed field goal. That was a head scratcher to me a little bit. That may, let's see, if Zane Trace scores, that may give them some momentum here.
They're going to have to go 80 yards. And they've not been able to run the ball that well. High snap to McCullough. They'll run it. Breaking out to the 25. Now loose to the 30 and to the 32. Big tackle by Eli Ryder. That could have been even further. Higgins is quick. He's the speed guy. Johnson is the strong guy at about 220. And Higgins goes 20 to the 33, 13 yards. One of the best runs of the night for Zane Trace. Down to 210, 2:09 to play till halftime. And they are spreading out now simply because they're in a hurry-up offense. McCullough takes the snap, going to keep it himself, and not much room, gets to the 35. Picked up a couple.
You know, even though he only gained 2 yards right there, you can see how much more space there is in the field. If Higgins breaks one, if McCullough breaks one, if Johnson hits a hole, there's opportunities there to bust a big one. I like Zane Trace spreading the field out like this.
They do get the ball to start the second half, Zane Trace. So let's hold that 4-man front. Those 3 linebackers about 3 yards behind the front line. Second down and 7. McCullough will hand it off, breaking to the outside. Again, that is Higgins, and Higgins upended, falls forward out across the 40-yard line, out to the 41. Clock moves down to near a minute to play, but now it is third down just at the 40-yard line. They need to get a long 3.
They need a little bit of sense of urgency here also. There's 1 minute on the clock, third down and 3, and they're just taking their time huddling up here, and they're wasting valuable time.
They may not want to give the ball back to Westfall with any time, but again, they do only have about 3.5 yards for the first down. Under center, McCullough. Third down, McCullough wants to throw it. Now he's going to run it, and he has nowhere to go. I think it was a quarterback draw. He went under center, took a couple steps back, then went to run it, but he's only going to get a half yard. And no gain, actually. The ball's still spotted out to 40. And they do not have to run another play on fourth down. Westfall, I think, used a couple timeouts. So down to 20 seconds, but 24 on the play clock, and they don't need to run a play here. What are they doing? Fourth down, and now they'll raise up. So fourth down, and now Westfall calls a timeout with 1 second remaining.
Not real sure what's going on both sides of the football.
I'm not sure what either sideline was doing there.
That just opens the opportunity for Zane Trace to run a Hail Mary or for something crazy to happen right here. I don't think Zane Trace was going to run a play, and if Westfall was going to call a timeout, they should have called it like 20 seconds
20
ago.
seconds before that.
Yeah.
And then Zane Trace almost has to punt, and you could have a play. When you got someone like Eberle who can break one at any time, he broke one for, I would think, I didn't ever check this, but he had a 97-yard touchdown run against Paint Valley, I would think would be a school record.
Yeah.
I know nobody ran 97 yards back when I played. We didn't have anybody could run that far.
Back when I was at school here at Zane Trace, Greg, I think going into my senior year, we were on like a 30-some game losing streak. And we won our first game of the year at Alexander. Ty Wortman, he was a senior that year, and he's now the superintendent here at Zane Trace. And I think we went on to finish 5-5. We were awfully proud of that football team.
McCullough, all he has to do is take the snap and go down to a knee. There's only 1 second on the clock. They do not have to punt the football. So McCullough will take the snap. They pitch it, a little bit of a danger. They pitch it out to 40, a little bit of running room, 50, 45, and now dragged out of bounds at the 35. That'll add to the yardage. That was Bryce Johnson on the run. He picked up about 25 yards. Westfall knocks him out of bounds, and that'll end the first half. 1 half of football complete here at Zane Trace. Westfall 7, Zane Trace nothing. We'll be back, look at some stats, and then later on we'll have an interview. Our halftime interview with Marty Banister. Right now, let's take a 2-minute timeout. We'll come back, review the scoring and stats. You're listening to the Thomason Insurance SVC Game of the Week.
Looking for a hometown favorite? Stop by the Lunchbox in Chillicothe, home of the famous pretzel sandwich. From hearty all-day breakfast to a variety of wraps, subs, and paninis, there's something for everyone. Don't forget the fresh lemon shake-ups, perfect with any meal.
Our employees certainly get the credit for that growth. The relationships that they build, people want to deal with people they can trust, they know, feel connected to. And I think that's where a community bank such as Kingston really shines. The color of money is the same no matter where you go, but I think the people behind it is what makes the difference. Having the empathy to understand what's going on in someone's business or personal lives and how you might be able to help it. I think our customers expect that, want that, and truthfully, they deserve that.
Integrity. It's a small word with a big meaning, and it's one we hold dear at Ross County Banking Center. That means we work hard every day to do what's right, even when no one's looking. We treat people the way we want to be treated, volunteer in our communities, and keep a watchful eye to safeguard our customers. At Ross County Banking Center, we strive to do that better every day. Find more information on our website, vcnbfamily.bank, or visit one of our physical locations. Member FDIC.
Looking for a job that works with your life? Your local McDonald's is now hiring. Join a team that's all about flexibility, growth, and a fun, fast-paced work environment.
At McDonald's, we're more than just burgers. We're part of the community. From supported local events to helping neighbors in need, we're proud to give back.
Apply today at your local Chillicothe or Waverly McDonald's or makehire.com. We'd love to have you on the team.
Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. I'm loving it.
You've been watching SVC Game of the Week, presented to you by Tomlinson Insurance.
At the Zane Trace 41, this time they were able to hit on a 38-yard touchdown pass over the middle, Quinn Eberle to Sparks. 3:31 to play in the first quarter. The kick good by Deskin, 7-0 Westfall, and that's where we still stand. Zane Trace did have one good drive where they drove down inside the 15-yard line. Looked like they were going to be able to tie the game up, but they were called for an illegal block, a chop block. It moved them 15 yards back outside the 30-yard line, and they weren't able to convert. Zane Trace had another fumble. Westfall took over at the 40, unable to get it in, and that's where we still stand, 7-0 Mustangs at halftime. So, Jaron, not a whole lot of stats in this one, but Westfall's had good field position. Zane Trace has had the 2 turnovers.
Yeah, if you go down here and you look at the stats in the first half, there's not a ton of them. For Westfall, had 18 rushes for 62 yards. Quinn Eberle, 9 carries for 33 yards. And Joey Wright, 9 carries for 29 yards. Throwing the football, it's been the one big play of the game. Quinn Eberle hooked up with Landon Sparks for a 38-yard touchdown pass. Quinn Eberle is 1 for 3 throwing the ball for those 38 yards and 1 touchdown. 2 penalties for Westfall for 20 yards right there in the first half. You flip over to Zane Trace, 18 carries, 94 yards, 25 of those right there on the last play of the half by Bryce Johnson. Bryce has 8 carries for 58 yards. Jaden Higgins has 3 carries for 18 yards. And Gunnar McCullough has 5 carries for 10 yards. Mason Hartley, 1 carry for 2 yards. Hudson Williams, 1 carry for 6 yards. Gunnar McCullough 0 for 2 throwing the football. Really, what's hurt Zane Trace, 2 lost fumbles and some penalties, right? So Zane Trace has 2 penalties for 30 yards, so not a ton of penalties, but the one was very costly. We talked about they were moving the ball down the field. They looked like they were getting ready to score. I think they had a 1st and 10, like around the 15-yard line, Greg, and it was the chop block that set them back, got them like 2nd and 25, and they just weren't able to get that first down from there. But the fumble on the punt return by Grady Stewart after Westfall punted on their opening possession. And then there was another fumble right about Zane Trace's own 40-yard line. Gunnar McCullough turned around and pitched it to Jaden Higgins, who couldn't handle it. And Westfall jumped on that loose ball also. So, again, Zane Trace, 70 yards of total offense in the first half. Westfall for 93. I think you got to give kudos to both teams' defense so far. And I think that, Joey Wright has really made a huge impact on the game defensively. I talked about in the pregame, what I was concerned about was how's Westfall going to answer or tackle Bryce Johnson. Well, they have the answer, and that's been Joey Wright so far.
Looking around the SVC, we don't have any score in Unioto their game, but we can, of course, hear 7-0 Westfall. And
Unioto leads 35-0.
Okay, 35-0. Thank you, Vanessa. Piketon leads Paint Valley 23-0, and the Huntsman of Huntington 7-0. Last report we had over Southeastern. Chillicothe up 14-7 in their first FAC matchup
That's
of the year.
That's a big game, Greg.
Yeah, 14-7 Cavaliers over the Panthers. Jackson only up on Hillsboro 21-14, and Washington Courthouse only 21-13 over McLean. So that's maybe in the years Jackson's been a lot stronger. Miami Trace has had a couple of, Courthouse had the years when they had those great athletes, but maybe this year, a great balance top to bottom in the FAC looking at some of those scores.
I think so. The thing with Jackson is the Wolfer kid broke a bone. He's out for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And so that kind of hurts Jackson a little bit. And I'm telling you, I got the chance to watch Chillicothe a few times. They're the real deal. Coach Carper's done a great job out there. Of course, I know him from when he was down at Benton County. Does a really good job of getting the players out, motivating the kids, getting excitement about the program. They've had 3 big wins in a row. And,
and they had to find a new quarterback.
Absolutely.
With Hammond broke his leg.
Tay Harris just came in. I was really impressed with him stepping in.
Yeah.
He played with a bunch of confidence, threw the ball around really well. Carter Williams does a good job on the outside for them. And I was really impressed with Chillicothe. With the Wolfer kid being out, I was talking to our buddy Mike Strasball tonight before I came over here, and we almost felt like this Chillicothe-Miami Trace game might be like an FAC championship type game. And, Carte Ligon, he just had phenomenal stats. You watched him the last several years. Well, last year for sure. He's only a sophomore, but he is quite the athlete. He started the season out at wide receiver. They put him in at running back when they had the injury, and he just went off for 400 yards rushing in one game, like 360 the next game, and his stats are just unbelievable. He's already gotten, I think, 5 or 6 D1 offers already, and they got the Rutherford kid up there on the offensive line who has some D1 offers, and I think there's some exciting things happening at Chillicothe the next several years.
That'll be a big matchup tonight. They're leading Miami Trace at this point in time. We're at halftime at Zane Trace in this SVC matchup. Both these teams 2-0 in conference play, and Westfall leads it at the half 7-0 over the Pioneers. Take another timeout. We'll have our halftime interview with Marty Banister on the network. And right now, a reminder that you're listening to the Tomlinson Insurance SVC Game of the Week on 100.9 WXIZ.
We welcome you back to the half of the game you are listening to on this Friday night on Total Media Sports. I'm Marty Banister, and we welcome you to Tonight in High School Football. On this edition of Tonight in High School Football, in the first portion of our discussion with you here at the intermission, we'll run down the computer rankings and tell you where your favorite area team stands as we head to week number 6 of the high school football season. And then in the second half of our segment tonight, we'll look at some of the big performances out of week number 5 of this 2025 high school football season. We will start, first of all, in Division III. That's where the first of our area teams start to populate the computer rankings. And again, the top 12 teams per region have changed this year from 16 in past years, make it to the postseason, with the top 4 seeds getting a first-round bye. In Region 11, undefeated Athens holds down the number 11 spot. Columbus Bishop Watterson is the number 1 team in that region. They are the defending Division III state champions. In Region 12, more area teams start to show up from our total media coverage. Washington Courthouse, Miami Trace in at number 4, followed by Hillsboro at number 7. Chillicothe is tied for 9th, and the Jackson Ironmen check in at number 12 in Region 12 of the high school football computer rankings. Moving down to Division 4 in Region 16, Washington Courthouse is at number 10 in that region. In Division 5, Region 19, the number 1 team is undefeated Wheelersburg. The number 2 team is undefeated Ironton, the defending state champions. Nelsonville York is 4th. Chillicothe Zane Trace checks in at number 7, while McDermott Northwest is 10th. Valley is 11th. Cole Grove Dawson Bryan at number 12. Portsmouth on the outside looking in right now at number 14, and Piketon is at number 16 in Division 5, Region 19. Down to Division 6, no area teams show up in the top 16 of the regions until you get down to Region 24. That's where Adina's in at number 13. Portsmouth West is at number 12. Ironton Rock Hill at number 3. And Chillicothe Huntington at 16. And again, that's Region 24 of Division 6. Moving down to Division 7, you have to drop all the way down to Region 27 where area teams start to show up. Number 3 is Symes Valley at 5-0. Trimble is 6th with a 3-2 mark heading into play tonight. And dropping down to Division 7, Region 28, that's where the defending state champion, Maria Stein Marion Local, resides in the number 1 spot in the computer rankings. At number 3, Portsmouth Notre Dame. At number 4, Beaver Eastern. And again, the high school football playoffs start on the last weekend of the month of October, and we are at week number 6 of the high school football regular season here in the state of Ohio. When we come back, we'll look around the state, look at some of the great performances by players in last week's games. We'll do that as we continue along. We are at the intermission. You are listening to High School Football Tonight on Total Media Sports.
Looking for a job that works with your life? Your local McDonald's is now hiring. Join a team that's all about flexibility, growth, and a fun, fast-paced work environment.
At McDonald's, we're more than just burgers. We're part of the community. From supported local events to helping neighbors in need, we're proud to give back.
Apply today at your local Chillicothe or Waverly McDonald's or makehire.com. We'd love to have you on the team.
Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. I'm loving it.
We welcome you back to the intermission of the game you are listening to here on Total Media Sports. I'm Marty Banister. Week number 6 of the high school football season. There were some big performances all across the state in week number 5. Let's check some of the ones that stood out from our area, our coverage area here on Total Media Sports. Let's start over in Pike County, where the Eastern Eagles ran their regular season win streak to 27 games on Saturday night when they beat the Southern Tornadoes 41-6. Out of the 6 touchdowns that the Eagles scored, 4 were scored on one-play drives. Junior receiver Boston Webb, the beneficiary of 3 touchdown passes. In total, he had 4 catches for 174 yards. It took sophomore running back Jack Montgomery just 3 rushes to cover 124 yards and find the end zone twice. Meigs junior quarterback Gunnar Cleveland accounted for 277 total yards and 7 total touchdowns last week, 4 through the air, 3 on the ground. Wide receiver Owen Tracy, who came out for football this year for the first time since 8th grade, saw his first action this season after battling back from an injury and responded with 8 catches for 134 yards in the Marauders' 52-6 win over River Valley. Nelsonville York trailed 21-7 to Waterford on Friday, but rallied and scored with a minute remaining to win 29-28 and remain undefeated. The Buckeyes actually lined up to kick the extra point for the 28-all tie, but faked it and went for 2 and converted it on a pass from the kicker to the wingback. Austin Gautier led the defensive effort with 12 tackles, including 2 for loss and an interception. Coal Grove senior running back Caden Murphy scored all 3 touchdowns in the Hornets' 20-14 Ohio Valley Conference win at Portsmouth on Friday night. Murphy rushed for a couple of touchdowns and caught one on a screen pass, as his first touchdown was a 73-yard run on the game's opening play. He rushed for 199 yards on 26 carries and also caught a couple of passes for 36 yards. McDermott Northwest senior quarterback Jake Brown ran for 117 yards and passed for 117 yards in the Mohawks' 27-12 Southern Ohio Conference Division II victory over Minford last Friday. He completed 10 of 17 passes with 2 scores while rushing for 1 touchdown with 25 total carries. Wheelersburg head coach Rob Woodward won his 174th career game with the Pirates last Friday, a 52-7 victory over Valley. He now has the most wins in Pirate program history, surpassing the 173 wins owned by the legendary Ed Miller, whom the Wheelersburg High School Stadium is named after. Woodward is in his 18th season as the Wheelersburg head coach and has a career record of 174-45 and a 34-15 record in the state playoffs. His Pirate teams have captured 10 Southern Ohio Conference Division II titles, 3 Division V regional championships, as well as the 2017 Division V state title. The Pirates are 5-0 going into play this week for the first time since that 2017 season and are playing host to fellow 5-0 and defending Division V state champion Ironton tonight. The Pirates rolled Valley despite running only 18 plays from scrimmage and recording only 14.5 minutes worth of time of possession. The Portsmouth Notre Dame Titans defeated the visiting Shadyside Tigers 45-7 on Saturday. The Titans going to 5-0 for the first time since 2021. They have now played Shadyside 3 times in the past calendar year, despite the 2 schools being an estimated 3.5 hours apart. They played in last season's regular season at Shadyside, then played again in last season's Division VII state playoffs at Notre Dame. In this year's meeting in Portsmouth, Notre Dame senior quarterback Luke Cassidy rushed for 2 touchdowns and passed for 2 others, as he completed 5 of 18 passes for 109 yards and rushed 10 times for 53. Senior running back Bryce McGraw added 110 yards rushing and a touchdown on 14 carries, and senior place kicker Coleman Schaefer was a perfect 6 for 6 on extra points, which included a 37-yard field goal. That's a look at some of the top performances from week number 5 of the high school football season. I'm sure there will be great performances tonight as we continue along here in week number 6. A reminder, tomorrow across many of our Total Media platform stations,
This will end in
we'll have
30
Ohio
seconds,
State
and then I
football
can
for you.
play
The
a
Buckeyes
minute
are at
before I come
Washington to
back.
face the Huskies. It will have a 3:30 kick from out in Seattle. And in the noon hour, the Ohio Bobcats will be home, also on many of our Total Media stations. The Bobcats play host to Bowling Green in the Mid-American Conference season opener for the two teams. We'll have it for you. Our coverage again starts at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning with the kick at 12 noon from Frank Solich Field at Peden Stadium. We will get you back to the game you are listening to here at the intermission as we continue along. I'm Marty Banister. This is High School Football Tonight on Total Media Sports.
Stressed? Overstimulated? Smash it out at Recreations. Rec plates in our rage room, fling paint in the splatter zone, then strike a pose in the selfie studio. Chaos, creativity, and content. Let's get messy.
Oh, my mower won't start. I know what to do. Take it to Matheny's Small Engine Repair, located on Savageville School Road in between Jackson and Chillicothe. Matheny's is now an official Encore dealer with both new commercial and residential models on display. They'll get you up and mowing.
At Tomlinson Insurance, we've been protecting families, farms, and businesses since 1853. From auto, home, farm, life, or health, we tailor coverage that fits your world. With multiple carriers to meet your insurance needs. Real people, real service, local agents who can answer the phone and care when it matters most. Tomlinson Insurance. Let our history be your future. Call or stop by today.
Westfall on top, and some people might say, well, maybe it was a little bit of a surprise, but not. Jared and I've seen Westfall twice. They're very athletic, and I think what we're seeing different tonight, we know they can move the football. We've seen that. They've only got 7 points, but on the other hand, their defense has really improved. I know we've talked a lot about Joey Wright and his job at linebacker. He's strong enough. He's a senior. He's coming up and meeting head on all the great runners from Zane Trace. And we're 7-0. The Pioneers just had one good drive. Looked like we weren't able to tie it up. And they wound up with a huge chop block penalty that instead of having the ball down around inside the 15 and around to 13, they wound up outside their own 30. Wound up on 4th down with a pass down the middle. Williams had his hands on it, back part of the end zone, but it ever so cradles around some white jerseys from Westfall, but he's unable to haul it in. That would have tied the game up, but it did not. It's 7-0. And, Jaron, you look at the second half, well, Zane, you're not going to create a brand new offense. You've got the 2 running backs, Higgins, and you've got Bryce Johnson. McConnell's 6'2", 180 quarterback. You're not going to change your offense, but you've talked a lot about maybe spreading it out a little bit more.
Yeah, I think, if you look at the plays where Zane Trace has been successful, it's been to the outside, right? And it's been Higgins the outside once or twice, Hudson Williams coming across in motion for a sweep, a couple pitches to Bryce Johnson. They're not getting anything up the middle. You got to give a lot of credit to the Westfall defense. They're gang tackling Bryce Johnson up the middle. That's not there. So you have to make an adjustment. And as halftime came and I stepped out for a few minutes, I was talking to a few people and I was like, what's going on here? What are we thinking? And they said, well, last week Zane Trace was losing to Huntington at halftime 14-13, and they end up winning 41-14. So maybe they're a second half team. I don't know. But what we've seen so far, I wouldn't say has necessarily been a fluke. Zane Trace has kind of did this to themselves. The 2 turnovers with the fumbles, the penalty. They haven't had a bunch of penalties, but the one penalty we keep talking on, man, that was such a big penalty. You really felt like Zane Trace was getting momentum. They had the game kind of going how they wanted. They picked up the first down, and then you get the chop block, and you go from 1st and 10 to like 1st and 25, and it really set them behind the chains. And, Zane Trace gets the ball here, and to start the second half, it's only 8-10 as I look at my watch. This game is just flying by, and neither team, I think Zane Trace only had 4 possessions that first half, Greg, so you're not going to get a bunch of possessions in this type of game where both teams are running the football. But McCullough can throw the ball. You know, Grady Stewart can catch the ball. Hudson Williams, I know he kind of dropped the one. It was a tough catch. They have some guys that can catch it. I think you can't be afraid to open the field up because Westfall, they know what Zane Trace is about. They're going to line up, and they're going to try to, you know, jam it right down your throat. You're going to have to make some type of adjustment, whether you throw the ball some or you put a couple receivers out there to open up some more lanes for your running backs.
No doubt about it. You know, they kick off. One of Zane Trace's best plays of the night was their kickoff return after the Westfall touchdown. They returned it all the way down. I got that. Let's see, Westfall.
Like the 40 or something.
Yeah, Westfall
there.
39. You're right. They took over after a great kickoff return from their 20 down to the 39 of Westfall. So we'll see how what happens here to start the second half as Zane Trace would get the kickoff and started out with the football to start our second half. Again, next week, our plans will be back at Unioto. Zane Trace travels to meet the Shermans. Unioto is winning big again tonight. That matchup next week. Many people, well, they kind of thought about Piketon, but Unioto and Zane Trace both really handled Piketon easily. So kind of headed for that matchup. But, of course, Westfall can have something to say. If they win this tonight, Westfall would be 3-0. They do not play Unioto until week number 10.
Yeah, that would be, and again, you know, this would be a huge win for Westfall. It really, if I'm being honest right now, this is almost a must-win game for Westfall if they want to get into the playoffs because they're going to start picking up a bunch of L2 points if they can beat Zane Trace. So Zane Trace, you know, they're sitting in better position. They were in 7th place coming in tonight. But, again, this would be a big win for them because Westfall's won 4 games. So, man, this kind of scares me a little bit, Greg. I see we have – it's homecoming night at Zane Trace. I see some of my classmates down here. Looks like they're going to do some cheerleading this half. And we're getting close to our mid-40s. I hope we don't have any injuries down here.
I hate to tell you this. Last Saturday night, we had a 55-year reunion for Westfall graduation. Our class of 70 got together there at a restaurant in Circleville. But I didn't recognize the people there were old.
Yep.
I don't know where they all got so old. I actually found a friend out in the restaurant. I brought him in, and I said, lie if you have to, but don't tell me that I look a lot younger than all these people that I graduated with. Anyway, it was great seeing catching up at that point in time. Well, the Mustangs will go on defense to start it out, but, again, that is our plan. Next week's game will be Zane Trace at Unioto. And now, you know, Jaron, I think sometimes young people do, but I hear other people – you can't always look at scores. Zane Trace started the year off with a running clock, 42-0 halftime over Logan Elm. 48-0, whatever, 49-0, whatever it was in that game. So the next week, Logan Elm plays Westfall. It goes down to the wire, and Westfall beats them, I believe, 34-28, or something like that. So you're Zane Trace, and like I said, well, man, we killed Logan Elm by 48 points. It was a 6-point game with them, so we're a lot better. But first of all, that was week 1 and 2, and I think sometimes some teams can improve and just have to be careful sometimes about looking at other games because you don't know exactly what happened. Westfall will kick it off. Here we go. And the kick this time is on the ground, bouncing down, grabbed at the 20-yard line, and hard around the right side to the 25, cuts back this way 30, back to the outside and pulled down from behind. Forward to the right, to the left, all the way around. And very quick on the carry was Mason Hartley.
He did
I thought he was going to get loose again.
Yeah, I was going to say he did a lot of zigzagging right there. I felt like if he'd have broke that last tackle, he had about 15 or 20 more yards right there. But good job by Westfall on their kick coverage. And Zane Trace is going to start, looks like their 33-yard line here.
Underway the second half. Greg Bigham, Jaron Cox with you. Westfall 7-0 on a 38-yard touchdown pass in the first half. So Zane Trace will come out. They'll go McCullough under center. That same formation, 2 running backs. Second man through, Bryce Johnson, 35, 37, maybe the 38. Eli Wright on the tackle. Helped out on the tackle also there by Deskins. 33 to the 38. They'll take that. 5 yards on the carry by Bryce Johnson.
Yeah, nice initial carry in the second half right there. It looks like they really didn't change anything. Just like we said, hey, we're going to line up. We think we're bigger and stronger than you.
Hartley now moves to the right side. He's the only wide out. Their flankers right off the tight end side. They'll run straight ahead again. 40, a little bit of running room and pushed forward. And again, that's Bryce Johnson, very near the first down. And do they have it? They should. They started out to 33. They're at the 44. Yeah, they got to have the first down. Yeah, the line of scrimmage at 33. They're at the 44. I'm not very good math, but that's 11 yards. So Johnson gets 5. He gets 6. Brand new set of downs for the Pioneers. Westfall crowds the line of scrimmage. Second man through, left side. Now cutting ahead, staying down low. That might have been, was that Hartley?
That was Higgins.
Higgins on the carry. 22, not 20. Maybe 4 yards on the carry. Second down and 6.
So first 3 plays for Zane Trace in the second half, 5, 5, and 4. So definitely an improvement. When you play this style of football, it really hurt them that second quarter is penalties. You can't get any holding penalties or chop blocks.
Williams is right off the tight end on the right side. Now he'll come in motion. McCullough under center. They'll run it left side. A little more of a pitch. Johnson 50. Bulls straight ahead and fights for yardage. Shy of right near the first down.
They're going to give it to him.
Right at the 46 of Westfall. And are they going to measure? They're going to call time to have the head official come look at it.
I think he's got it. They might measure it, but I think they're going to give it to him.
Now 4 referees, and they say, let's bring the chains in and take a look at it. So we'll send one of their officials over to mark the chains and bring them all the way across the field. Right into their balls in front of the Zane Trace bench here on the near side, of press box side.
You just hear somebody yell, way to go, O-line. I was getting ready to make the comment. Their O-line's doing a lot better job here this drive in the second half of getting a push up front. And, again, 5, 5, 6, and 4 on the first 4 carries for Zane Trace this second half. And again, we talk about them doing a better job, but, Westfall's having 8, 9 guys in the box. First down.
First down. They got the chains across. Chains headed back, and now the officials will go spot the football. They're at the 46 of Westfall. Actually, the tip of the football across the 46 of Westfall. So it'll be a brand new set of downs for the Pioneers. 2 straight first downs on the ground on every carry. And I think every carry has been off the left side of their offensive line.
It has. It absolutely has been. Whether it's been a counter or a pitch. Or
Higgins and Johnson, your 2 running backs. McCullough under center. Williams in motion to the left side. Same thing, pitch left side. Johnson 45-40 collides with the Westfall defender down inside the 40 at 37. Ricky Hanley on the stop. Hanley met him head up. Johnson was able to push forward. 2 pretty big boys colliding there. Pickup of 9, second and 1. That's to the Westfall 37. Yeah, Johnson that was a pitch, but it's not a wide sweep. Right. It's a pitch where he cuts it up inside, maybe left tackle, left in, cuts it straight ahead, so he's going north and south.
Kind of pitch it to him, let him look for that hole, and he's doing a good job of finding that hole.
Second and 1. Westfall crowds the line on second and 1. They run the same formation. Second man through, now breaking to the outside, back inside. Higgins, and he's got 6 or 7 down to the 30.
Good patience right there by Higgins. Kind of hesitated, let the hole open up. Nice job of jumping in there real quick and picking up 6 yards. And this looks like a determined Zane Trace offense right now.
Down to the 31 of Westfall. Brand new set of downs. 3rd straight first down. We're down to 3 minutes into the 3rd quarter. 9 minutes to play. 7-0 Westfall. Only touchdown in the 1st quarter. Touchdown pass for the Mustangs from Eberle to Sparks. So a new set of downs. Zane Trace, only 1 wide receiver. Everybody else bunched up again. Same thing. Left side, Johnson 30, 26, maybe the 26. Again, they're just pitching it to him, letting him coming around the left side. And that time he got maybe 4, not quite as many, but 4 more yards. Second down and 6. Inside the 30 of Westfall.
I'm going to start paying a little bit closer attention here, but they must like some type of matchup on this left side of their offensive line. They're running right behind Blake Brower.
Yeah, Brower's a rough tackle. I'm sure that's one reason. Now they go with a slot right. Hartley's come in a little bit from that wide receiver. Second down, they go right side. No, McCullough's going to keep it. Gets away from one man, comes back to his left, back to his right. Now he wants to throw deep in the downfield and almost intercepted. Back on coverage for Westfall. We got back there after scrambling around with Scott.
That was a heads-up play by McCullough. That was a design run for him. He was going to lose about 10 or 15 yards, and he saw a receiver. And really, if he could have let him a little bit, he might have had a touchdown. But my question would be, Greg, you ran the ball like, 7 or 8 times in a row. You've been getting at least 4 yards a carry. Why are you switching right now? Because now you're kind of behind the chains, 3rd and 6, and you could have been in a 3rd and short possibly.
I think they were hoping those linebackers of Westfall would shoot up and try to stop the running back. McCullough kept it. Nothing happened. Now they're going to run it again. Johnson, not much room, pushes forward. One of the back linemen has him by his feet as he can't move forward. I think that's Eli Wright, grabbed his ankles. He's shy of the first down, gets inside the 25. So they're going to have about 4th and 3 or 4. They're at the 20, just outside the 24. They got to get long 3. So a big 4th down for Zane Trace. They've kept this football now for going on 5 minutes, taking the second half kickoff, but it comes down to the play right here. What do you do?
A big play. I don't know whether you pitch it to Johnson or maybe you roll out. Looks like I would suspect a pitch to Johnson.
Higgins and Johnson behind McCullough. McCullough fake. Now they fakes. They want to throw. Down the middle. Wide open touchdown. Great pass by McCullough. He had to throw back off his back foot. And it's caught by Hartley, I believe. Caught the pass. Mason Hartley in the end zone.
24 yards.
24-yard touchdown pass. They had pressure on McCullough, but he turned the opposite way, being a right-handed quarterback, but still got a lot on it.
Nice play call right there. Caught Westfall by surprise.
Looked like Zane Trace had a man at the 10. The extra point attempt is up, and it is good. We are tied. 7:08 to play in the third quarter. Pioneers have tied it up. Westfall 7, Zane Trace 7. Tomlinson Insurance SVC Game of the Week on WXIZ. Back after this.
Ready to transform your entire lawn? Call.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people. All to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank. Working together, building success.
He was about 3 or 4 yards behind in Westfall. There was another receiver up around the 10. I think Westfall was, a couple of guys were close to him, and Hartley got behind him. But McCullough did a great job. He had some pressure coming on into his face. But he's 6'2", 180. He's strong enough that he was able to kind of lean back and get it all the way into the end zone for the score. Zane Trace will kick it off, tied 7 apiece. And the kick is end over end coming down, bounces at the 20, picked up at the 16. For Westfall, around to the 25, down the left sidelines, look out, and still on the run, finally taken out of bounds up around midfield.
Quinn Eberle.
That's Quinn Eberle, the quarterback, returning the kick. If you're Zane Trace, I don't think I kick it to Quinn Eberle.
No.
But he played it on a bounce, and he was knocked out of bounds at the Westfall 48-yard line. Great return by Eberle. 20 out to the 48.
So Zane Trace, obviously they went in and kind of looks like they ripped their guys at halftime, came out and pushed the defensive line from Westfall back. Let's see what Westfall is going to do on their first possession.
1st and 10 Mustangs. Eberle the quarterback. He will hand it off to Joey Wright. 50, 45, Wright breaks to the outside, breaks another tackle, 40, 37, 35-yard line, 17 yards, rumbling and bumbling down the field is Joey Wright.
That's an impressive first play, impressive answer right there by the Mustangs.
All the way to the 35.
Yeah, I don't think he got touched the first 10 yards, and then he drug a guy with him.
So Westfall answers quickly, gets a great kickoff return, and all of a sudden it's the Zane Trace 35. First brand new set of downs for the Mustangs. Everly calls signals, running backs on either side of him. He will run it himself, 35. Now he had him down for a moment. Well, two Zane Trace defenders looked like they had a hand on him, and he broke loose, and he gets 5 yards to the 30. Well, they say his knee went down at the 32. Let's call it 2nd and 7.
He's a sneaky quick.
He is. He's always falls forward. He fell to the 30, but his knee touched down. Everly in the pistol, looks over to the sideline. He's got Joey Wright right off his left hip. Eli Wright is right off the left tackle's side, so he's in tight. 2nd and 7. Everly wants to run it again by himself, and this time he's brought down almost immediately. Good penetration, a lot of blue jerseys there.
Nice job by Hudson Williams. Hudson came in and kind of got him by the legs and knocked him down right there. I think he would have had about 4 or 5 more yards.
3rd and 5. So 3rd and 5 just outside the 30 of Zane Trace. Clock already down to 5.5 minutes left in the third quarter. We're tied 7 apiece. Westfall scoring in the first quarter. Zane Trace taking the second half kickoff and marching it downfield. I think it was a 67-yard touchdown drive for the Pioneers, scoring on 4th down on a touchdown pass. 3rd and 5, maybe 4 down territory for the Mustangs. Now Everly wants to throw, looking, tosses it into the flats, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Zane Trace, return to the 30, down the sidelines, the 40, out near midfield.
Peyton Arthurs.
Peyton Arthur with the interception. Everly tried to throw it to the short man in the flat. And again, Quinn Everly is a wide receiver, turned quarterback 3 weeks ago. He's gotten better, but he throws kind of a soft pass, and he laid that up a little bit, and Arthur was able to pick it off. First turnover for Westfall.
Yeah, that was a throw he probably wished he could have had back. Good interception by Peyton Arthurs right there, but again, a nice return, but Zane Trace has a personal foul at the end of the return, so instead of getting the ball at the plus 46, you're moving back 15 yards to start this drive.
I didn't even see what happened. The official on this sideline, I think, that was the head referee made the call. Move it back to the Zane Trace 36.
Zane Trace fans do not agree with that call,
Yeah,
but again, I didn't see what happened.
I didn't see what happened. It must have been down on the sideline at the end of the interception. Maybe a late block for Zane Trace and Arthur trying to return it. Yeah, you have it in Westfall territory, and that'll bring you back to the 36. 5 minutes to play, third quarter. McCullough under center, hands off, left side, waiting is Johnson, straight ahead. He's out near the 40. Maybe got 3 or 4. Tried to jig and jang a little bit inside that left guard, waiting for an opening.
Yeah, but again, no wideouts right there for Zane Trace. A double tight end and a wing back. And, it really allows Westfall to just crowd that line of scrimmage. Their cornerbacks came in and really set the edge. And, you picked up 3 or 4 yards, but that's about the max that you're going to get in that type of play.
Westfall crowds the line again on 2nd and 7. Pitch left side, cutting back Johnson across the 40. Breaks loose to the 50. Spins again, down to the 45 of Westfall. What a run by Bryce Johnson. It looked like a pinball on a pinball machine. He must have been hit 4 times. He just kept bouncing off and spinning.
Yeah, that was an impressive run right there by Bryce Johnson. 15 more yards. That put him over the century mark. I got him at 16 carries and 108 yards right now.
He got hit 2 yards. He got loose. He's so strong.
He did.
And then about 3 more yards he got hit. He spun and then got hit again, and he spun again. And now we got an injury maybe to Westfall or something with maybe an equipment problem.
Yeah, I think you got to give a lot of credit to the left side of the Zane Trace offensive line. Blake Brower and Blake Payne over there. They really found something on this pitch to Bryce Johnson, letting him see the hole and cutting through there.
Bryce, the only man behind McCullough, who's under center. 2 wing backs, give it to the second wing back through Higgins. No room. Now he breaks it outside to the 40. He's loose at the 35. Breaks another tackle down inside to the 25-yard line. Well, Higgins, I don't know if he meant to, but he stutter stepped. He stopped and then took off again and got around the outside, and another penalty. Looks like it's going to go against Zane Trace for holding.
Again, this is when you're a team that loves to run the football, when you do have a holding penalty or a personal foul, those are drive killers. They are drive killers. They set you up at 1st and 20, 1st and 25, and it's, they've had success running the football, but that's still a lot of yards to gain to get a first down.
Higgins was wide inside the 25-yard line, so that winds up being a loss of 28 yards. Now it's not 1st and 38, but 28 yards from where he ended up running. It moves you all the way back to your own territory for Zane Trace. Still first down, but now 1st and 20. McCullough pitches left side on the sweep, cutting into the 50, 45, back to the outside from behind. Bryce Johnson is pulled down by Eli Wright, who got him from behind, came across. He gets 10 of the 20 yards, so let's call it actually 11, so 2nd down and 9. The Westfall 44. Thought that Johnson was going to break loose. Eli Wright did a good job coming from the inside linebacker, and from inside-outside pursuit got him down.
Jaden Higgins came off the field last play to get a breather, so you got Jake Stauffer in there right now. And you would imagine that Bryce Johnson's getting a little winded too. He
ran a lot. 2nd down and a long 9. Williams in motion, sets. They pitch it left side, inside run, and nothing there. Great defense. And now it looked like Eli Wright twisted the runner after he was down. Now, I don't know if the runner said something to him, so we'll see if it's the first guy or the second guy. Now, Bryce Johnson was called for the penalty, but in defense of Bryce, he was down, and Eli Wright rolled him over and twisted his leg and rolled him over. And I think Bryce Johnson just said something to him. And, again, I thought it was kind of extracurricular, but sometimes the second guy gets caught. And another big penalty against Zane Trace.
Yeah, there they were. They score a touchdown. Their previous possession, they're running the ball again well. And then you look at this drive, you have a personal foul and a holding penalty and another personal foul on the interception return. So 3 penalties on this drive.
Yeah, holding and 2 personal fouls. McCullough back by himself now in a shotgun. 2 receivers to the right side. And now we got timeout Westfall. Timeout on the field. We're tied 7 apiece. 2:33 to play the 3rd quarter. You're listening to the Tomlinson Insurance SVC Game of the Week.
The Lunchbox and Chillicothe, home of the famous pretzel sandwich. Enjoy all-day breakfast, fresh lemonade shake-ups, and a big menu for a small space. Visit us at 24 East Water Street or call 740-775-8624. Delivery, dine-in, and carry-out are available.
Stressed? Overstimulated? Smash it out at Recreations. Rec plates in our rage room, fling paint in the splatter zone, then strike a pose in the selfie studio. Chaos, creativity, and content. Let's get messy.
Don't get me wrong, Eli Wright wasn't a dirty tackle. He just didn't let go of the running back. He kept a hold of him and kind of rolled over on him. And Johnson, maybe he said a magic word. I guess there was no shoving or anything, but penalty called. The official must have been standing close to hear it. Now McCullough takes a high snap, back to pass, wants to throw a screen across the middle, 45, and that not a good cut to the 50-yard line. Had he cut the other way, it might have been Katie Barr the door there, but that was to Grady Stewart. The screen pass looked like it was set up pretty well.
Yes, I thought so.
But he had it over the middle. He cut out to the left, and the pursuit caught him. Maybe he cut to the right. He could have got another 5 or 10 yards, but now 4th down. 7-7 game. Zane Trace going to punt it away. So they get the interception, but almost wind up exactly where they returned the interception. There's a snap over the punter's head. All the way back. Now picked up by Zane Trace. They're going to try to run it to the left side. He's back to the 30 and out across the 35. Another mistake for Zane Trace as they hiked the ball over the punter's head. Picked up by the punter, Hudson Williams. I thought he had a chance maybe to kick it after he got by the first defender, but he decided to keep running with it, and Westfall will get great field position. Injured player for Westfall, that's Hanley, and now Hanley's up walking off the field. Okay.
Oddly enough, the way that played out, if Hudson was somehow able to get by that defender, he might have had some room to possibly look at a first down. He had a lot of green in front of him. And again, it's just the self-inflicted wounds from Zane Trace right now are just really, really hurting them.
Yeah, they've not had a sharp night at all. Just a lot of mistakes. Now, I'll give their defense credit. They've stood up and kept Westfall out of the end zone. So Westfall, again, with good field position. Zane Trace, 38-yard line. Remember, after Zane Trace's touchdown, Eberly returned the kickoff to midfield, so they had great field position last time. And Zane Trace wound up intercepting a pass. So now Westfall in good position again, and now we got timeout Westfall. That's
our second timeout.
Yeah, that's our second timeout. Timeout on the field. We are tied 7-7. 2:02 remaining in the third quarter. Westfall scored late in the first quarter, a 38-yard touchdown pass. And Zane Trace, opening drive of the third quarter, drove it down, and on fourth down, a 24-yard touchdown pass to Hartley from McCullough. And that's where we're at, tied 7 apiece.
I got some score updates here while we're waiting on the timeout. We got Chillicothe and Miami Trace tied 14 at half. Piketon's up 29-0 at halftime against Paint Valley. Vinton County's up 12-3 on Alexander in the third quarter. Jackson's up 34-14 at half on Hillsboro. And Circleville's up 28-14 in the third quarter against Marietta also.
Timeout. Westfall didn't have the personnel or not able to run what they wanted to run. Now they're ready to go. They put Eberly in the shotgun. And he's going to run it himself. Tries to get around the left end. Gets by one defender. Now straight ahead. Back to the outside. Pulled down from behind. And now a late flag.
That looks like possibly holding.
So,
yeah,
holding against Westfall. So kind of the guys in stripes have kind of taken over the game. But, again, I think some of these are pretty evident.
Yeah.
I think holding calls in Westfall have been when Eberly's been around the end, out on the outside.
They are. And, it's hard to not hold in football when you're on the line. Sometimes you just got to know if it's crowded, you might be able to get away with it. When you're out in the open, not so much. And so it's one of those things you just got to be aware of the situation and your surroundings.
43 is Zane Trace. It came from the spot of the foul, so it leaves a 1st and 15, even though it was a 10-yard mark-off. Joey Wright right off the left hip of Quinn Eberly. Eberly rolls to the left, going to run it himself. Back to the outside, and out of bounds. Got back maybe at least to 5 yards. Should bring up. Well, they've got second down. Is it 3rd and 10?
Should be like second.
Second, because last play.
2nd and 11.
That was a straight run by Quinn Eberly off the left side. 2nd and 11 Mustangs. We're down under 2 minutes to play third quarter.
Good balance for the Mustangs so far. You got Eberly 41 yards rushing. You got Joey Wright with 46 yards rushing.
On their first series, the second half, Joey Wright had that great run for first down just a few plays before they threw the interception.
Hasn't touched it since.
Moore will be in motion. He's in motion to the right side. They're going to run it to the right side. Eberly breaks one tackle, can't break a second tackle as he jitterbugs back in the backfield. Picked up a few on the play. Got to bring up third down, 3rd and fairly long, maybe 3rd and 9. 3rd and 9 Mustangs. Clock moving a minute 33, a minute 32. Third quarter, tied 7 apiece.
It's going to be a quick night tonight, Greg. I told my wife I might be home by 10:30 tonight. It might be before 10.
Unless we go overtime.
That's true. That is very true. That's a real possibility.
3rd and 9. Play clock down to 9 seconds. Westfall breaks the huddle at 7-6. They're going to have to hustle up and get this play off. 3-2. Eberly looks. They do get the play off. Eberly wants to throw. Now he may scramble with it. He takes off running. He's pulled down from behind. Big defensive play on the sack by Lucas Euler.
That was a nice sack. But I'll tell you what, that was a nice job by Quinn Eberly of holding on to the football right there, too.
He didn't know he was behind him.
Yeah. Eberly Euler came behind him and caught him and kind of stripped him from behind. And nice job by Eberly hanging on to the ball.
All right, Westfall, I'm assuming they're going to line up 7-7 game. They're in Zane Trace territory, but out to 44. So they will line up initially to punt the football. One man deep. Is that Stewart deep?
Start.
And now, false start and not a real good punt, although another roll. You know, again, Zane Trace, a lot of times coaches will keep track. Stewart is all the way at the 10. Almost looks like he's too far back again.
I agree.
I say that, and Westfall could boom one here, but.
Yeah. You know, I think if you're a punt returner, your number one goal, I would think, should be to try to catch the ball in the air. Because if you let it bounce, you have no idea where it's going, and if it bounces towards you and you see a bunch of guys coming, you're losing like 20 yards right there. I would scoot up about 10 yards.
He's looking to the sidelines. Zane Trace with a big rush, and Deskins gets it away. Coming down, Stewart catches it at the 15, back to the outside, cuts in at the 20. He's in trouble, and he falls down at the 22.
That might have been a good move just because it looked like the ball was starting to come loose out of his hands a little bit.
Zane Trace got a good jump on the rush. Deskins did a nice job getting the kick away. Is there another flag? So we can see. I think Zane Trace might have been offsides. That's what they're asking, maybe Westfall.
I think they declined it.
Yeah.
Zane Trace has field position, looks like starting about their own 22. With 6 seconds to go here in the third quarter.
Last play of the third quarter. McCullough under center. And he'll pitch it to the left. Johnson, 22, 25. Back into the 30. Down the sidelines, 40. And out near the 45. Nice carry by Bryce Johnson. Tackle by Joey Wright. And that's going to end the third quarter on a nice run. 22 of about 20 yards by Bryce Johnson. Actually a little further than that. But that should end the quarter. The ball at the 45.
Yeah,
and that'll be the end of the third quarter. We've completed 3. We're all tied. Westfall 7, Zane Trace 7. The Thomason Insurance SVC Game of the Week in WXIZ.
Our employees certainly get the credit for that growth. The relationships that they build, people want to deal with people they can trust, they know, feel connected to. And I think that's where a community bank such as Kingston really shines. The color of money is the same no matter where you go, but I think the people behind it is what makes the difference. Having the empathy to understand what's going on in someone's business or personal lives and how you might be able to help it. I think our customers expect that, want that, and truthfully, they deserve that.
The Lunchbox and Chill Coffee, home of the famous pretzel sandwich. Enjoy all-day breakfast, fresh lemonade shake-ups, and a big menu for a small space. Visit us at 24 East Water Street or call 740-775-8624. Delivery, dine-in, and carry-out are available.
You've been watching SVC Game of the Week, presented to you by Tom.
And they start off their first play here with Bryce Johnson on a 23-yard run, and he's where now? Did you tell me, John?
He has 19 carries for 142 yards.
He's been a workhorse. Bryce Johnson, he's a junior. McCullough under center, brand new set of downs at the 45 of Zane Trace. McCullough, second man through, waiting and splitting forward to the 50, spinning to the outside. That is Higgins, I believe, on that carry. Higgins, he's, again, Johnson is what, 5'10", 220? Yeah, I think I've got that.
Johnson at 5'10", 210.
And Higgins is a speed guy, if you haven't seen Zane Trace.
Yeah.
So Higgins was like he was used to run through tires as a football player. He kind of moved those quick feet back and forth. That's how he was running that play, and he got a first down, 11 yards on the carry there, Westfall territory. They pitch it right side, straight ahead, 40, back to the outside. Johnson, 35, fights for yardage. 7 Westfall player trying to rip the ball out of his hands. And he gets down to around the 32. Another first down on that carry by Bryce Johnson.
You know,
Westfall's
really,
defense been on the field a lot here, don't you think?
They have been, and I think they're wearing down. I think you got to give a lot of that credit to the Zane Trace offensive line. It really looks like they're just wearing on them here in the second half. But the thing is, Greg, the game's still tied 7-7. You know, you're looking at a fumble. Zane Trace has fumbled the ball 2 or 3 times tonight. Westfall's recovered 2. They're one big play from taking it back to the house and getting the lead. Zane Trace needs to score.
They got to hurry up, down to 3 seconds, man in motion. They're going to have to call a timeout to get out of the huddle. Like Bryce Johnson came out of the game. They brought in a sub. It was Stauffer coming in to replace Johnson, who's carried the ball a lot. And they got to the line with 4 seconds on the play clock, and the Zane Trace staff quickly called a timeout. We're in the fourth quarter, 7-7. Zane Trace on the drive. You know, something else, and I talk a lot about, I mean, the front, Westfall's big up front. Their 4 guys are big, huge guys on the line. But they got Rick Hanley. They got Joey Wright. And the third linebacker, I believe, sometimes it's been 11, Austin Layton. But their 3 linebackers, and Eli Wright, too, is a linebacker. I think they're wearing down, but that time I noticed Hanley but rather than Hanley tackle Bryce Johnson, he was trying to tear the ball out, and Johnson got another 5 or 6 yards, and you know they're trying to force a turnover.
You can't tackle Johnson up high.
You got to tackle him and get him down. They've done a good job of much tonight getting down low on him. Man in motion is Williams. Brand new set of downs after the timeout. Johnson straight ahead, not a lot of room. He falls forward inside the 30. Down to around the 28. Not as many yards that carry. It was pretty well stuffed up. Eli Wright on the stop. Also getting up is Danny Hall, big number 72, a senior.
Again, this second half has been what Zane Trace football is. We're going to line up, and we're going to try to run it right down your throat. But when you play that way, the penalties kill you and turnovers. And there was the penalties last drive. They were moving the ball again.
You did it! You clicked my number!
Second down. And handoff. Higgins left side, tries to get outside. He's got room. He's to the 20. Look out. He's down the sideline. Higgins, touchdown, Zane Trace. He got around the corner, cut it up the left sidelines, and he goes in for the score from 29 yards out. And Zane Trace takes their first lead of the night on a carry by Jaden Higgins, 6 foot, 180-pound senior.
Nice job. Nice blocking on the left side of the line. Blake Brower pins his guy into the middle, and Higgins, he kind of gets that corner, kind of gives a head and shoulder hesitation, and Quinn Eberle kind of went with it, and he just blew right by him for the touchdown.
Extra point kick good by the Pioneers, and they take their first lead. 10:06 left in the ball game. Zane Trace 14, Westfall 7, the Thompson Insurance SVC Game of the Week.
Our employees certainly get the credit for that growth. The relationships that they build, people want to deal with people they can trust, they know, feel connected to. And I think that's where a community bank such as Kingston really shines. The color of money is the same no matter where you go, but I think the people behind it is what makes the difference. Having the empathy to understand what's going on in someone's business or personal lives and how you might be able to help it. I think our customers expect that, want that, and truthfully, they deserve that.
A lot of those first 3 or 4 first downs, they were getting chunks of 7, 8, 10 yards. Then slowed up a bit there, but Higgins kind of was a wide off tackle, and he made a quick move to the outside, and once he turned the corner down the left sidelines, he's too fast.
Yeah, nice breakaway speed right there by Jaden Higgins.
Preston Lane will kick it off. I would suggest you don't kick it to Quinn Eberle, and they do kick it straight down the middle and taken there at the 16. 20 to the outside, Eberle, and Eberle this time is brought down. Well,
Lucas
made me eat my words.
Jake Stauffer. Jake Stauffer.
Stauffer on the tackle. Nice job. Eberle took it. Tried up the middle, tried to break to the outside, and Zane Trace with excellent cover. Didn't get Quinn a chance to get started. 23-yard line for Westfall. They'll take over now, trailing the first time tonight.
It's a big drive for Westfall. Only 10 minutes left in the game. Both teams running the football. More importantly, Zane Trace has been running and scoring here in the second half.
Three receivers to the left side. Eberle, one running back. Eberle wants to throw. Now he's going to run a draw play straight ahead for the 23 and maybe a yard or two, stuffed in there by a whole bunch of blue jerseys. Eberle looked to the left. He had three receivers, almost like faked a quick out, and then kept it, tried to run straight ahead, but Zane Trace stayed home up the middle, and he was able to pick up 2 yards, second down and 8.
Here's that situation we had in the first half. I was talking about 3 receivers to the left, really only 2 defensive backs over here covering them.
Eberle to his left, stops, wants to throw back to the right side. He's got a blocker. The receiver now hit from behind, and boy, that might be a Monroe's collision for Zane Trace.
I believe that was Bryce Johnson.
Pass was complete from behind. Just a quick.
61. That's Lane Reeves.
Yeah, Lane Reeves on the hit from behind. Fortunately, out of Westfall when it coughed it up. I didn't see the receiver. It was just a quick screen to the right side to the wide receiver. Now a big third down for Westfall, 3rd and 3. They picked up about 5 on that play. Eberle by himself in the backfield. Eberle drops the ball, picks it up, throws to the outside, and dropped. Timing was off the whole time. He tried to throw it to the outside after he dropped it. Incomplete. Intended for his favorite target, Landon Sparks, who has the only touchdown tonight for Westfall. And now 4th down, what do?
I think you got to go for it. Looks like they're punting.
Still.
My question would be, I think I would go for it because Zane Trace has been moving the ball, but Joey Wright has had 1 carry the second half. The first play of the game, the half for him, went 17 yards, Greg. He hasn't touched the ball since.
4th down. They will line up in punt formation. The punter is now they get a late sub onto the field for Westfall at the last second. Play clock down to 6. Snap is a little bit high. Grab there, and the punt is a good one. High down the right side, and Zane Trace will let it bounce. Need to get out of the way, and now it'll be down by Westfall at the 38 of Zane Trace. Good job by Zane Trace just getting out of the way, not taking a chance there. It'll be to 38. Zane Trace with a 7-point lead as Westfall goes 3 and out. And they're at their own 38. It'll be their ball. We'll keep it right here. Next week we go to Unioto. It'll be these same Zane Trace Pioneers making the short trip over to meet the Shermans next week. We'll have it here on the voice of the SVC, 100.9 WXIZ.
At Tomlinson Insurance, we've been protecting families, farms, and businesses since 1853. From auto.
Our employees certainly.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people.
Back, Bryce Johnson on the carry after that punt. Johnson was nowhere to go on a sweep to the right, cut it back, and picked up good yardage from the 38 out across midfield. So it would give him 12-5, 17 for Bryce Johnson. As he continues, he's going to be up around the 150-yard mark.
Well, he's at 179.
Oh, past the 150.
Yeah. This is why I would not have punted right there. I feel like, if you're wanting to tie or win this game, you had to go for it because your defense has been on the field an awful lot here in the second half, and Bryce Johnson seems to be getting stronger and stronger.
Brand new set of downs, Westfall territory to 45. Again, Johnson straight ahead. Not much this time. Westfall stuffs it up pretty good. He got maybe 2 or 3, falls forward from the 45 to around the 42 maybe. But again, the clock running. Still only 14-7. Mustangs only down by 1. Johnson will come out after 2 straight runs. And we'll see if they go back to Higgins here on this carry.
Yeah, I would look for an outside sweep play to Higgins. That's
they don't. They don't have to run a play. They could let the clock run another 25 seconds, but they're already at the line of scrimmage. Now maybe McCullough will look over to the sideline. They need to run time. They're up 14-7. They're going to run a play kind of quickly. They quickly hand off to Higgins, reverses his field, nowhere to go, and he's going to be thrown for a loss by 4 or 5 white jerseys. Well, not great clock management by Zane Trace. You got a brand new set of downs, so now it's 3rd down. Yeah, and they could have ran another 20, 25 seconds off the clock before they ran the play. They also had Bryce Johnson out of the game now. He'll come back in on this play.
Yeah, I thought they could have let the play clock go down earlier, and I really thought instead of Higgins and trying to bust a big play right there, kind of let the play develop, follow where your blockers are. Lost 6 or 7 yards right there.
Well, Higgins just busted that touchdown run at 29. He tried to stop and go back the opposite way, but there were too many white jerseys. Now 3rd and long. Here we go. McCullough pitches. They'll run it to the right side. Johnson straight ahead to the 40, to the 36-yard line. I'd say he didn't get a first down, but he sets him up for an opportunity after a run from the 47 down to the 36, about 11 yards, and somebody down on the field might be Johnson.
It is Johnson. Hopefully it's just a cramp.
He is shy of the first down by about 1.5 yards. It is Bryce Johnson down on the field for Zane Trace, the guy they can ill afford to lose. We're down to 6:24, still plenty of time. And now Bryce Johnson gets up.
Just a cramp.
Yeah, but he will. Now you got 4th and 1, and unless you call timeout, he has to come out of the game.
Yeah.
Because the trainer came on, the coaches came on the field.
I think that even with him out of the game, I don't know. Higgins seems to be more of an east and west runner. I'd like to try to find somebody, just go north and south there. Maybe it's a quarterback sneak.
Yeah, they might run McCullough here on 4th. It's a long one. They start the clock, coming up on 6 minutes. McCullough, and he goes a quarterback sneak straight ahead. I don't know.
It's going to be close.
The far side official, if he got across the 35, I think it's a first down. And if he did, it is a first down. And by about 0.5 yard, McCullough just went with a real quick snap, bent down. He's 6'2", 180, moved forward, and he gets a big first down for Zane Trace. They overcome that loss when Higgins lost the yardage. Now they got a brand new set of downs, Jaron.
Yeah, that's another at least 2 minutes off the clock right there as we're under 6 minutes. So, Westfall defense, they've got to make a play right here to get the ball back somehow.
Well, they made that big play, then gave up that big run to Johnson that set up 4th and 1. A little better job running the clock down for the Pioneers this time. McCullough straight ahead on the run, and I believe, is that Higgins?
Higgins.
Maybe 5. Hey, Westfall's defense has been on the field a lot in the second half. And they got some big boys. Their linebackers are big. Hanley and Joey Wright's a big kid. And pick up 5 yards by Higgins. 2nd down and 5. Play clock now down to 20, so they got 20 more seconds. They're going to be under 5 minutes when they run this 2nd down and 5.
Yeah, I think that you're going to see Zane Trace start running that play clock at least under 10 seconds, probably under 5 from here on out.
And they do this time, 2nd down and 5. McCullough under center, as they have been. Handoff, right side, Johnson. First down, he battles and rumbles down. On his back was Eli Wright, but he couldn't pull him down from behind. And another first down, Zane Trace down to the 21. They're just keeping it on the ground.
Yeah, you just see Bryce Johnson is getting the ball. You can tell how tired the Westfall defense is. They're trying to reach out and grab him. Their hands are just hitting Bryce and slipping off. They can't get a good grip on him. And again, you got to give some of that credit to the Zane Trace offensive line. They've been getting a really good push here in the second half, really getting off the ball on the snap.
All right, 4:35, 4:33 left in the ball game. 14-7 Zane Trace. They're on a drive at the 21 of Westfall. New set of downs. Handoff. Higgins tries to break it outside, pulled down from behind by the jersey. Nice defensive play by Westfall from behind. Kanan Van Dyne. Van Dyne, a nice play and a loss on the play. And again, Higgins, when he stops, now he's got that speed so he can break it away, but that's twice now he's stopped and tried to improvise, and he's got thrown for a loss.
Yeah, sometimes you got to know, like when you're trying to hit the big play, and sometimes you got to know, I just got to stay ahead of the chains. I was, on this drive, you want to stay kind of ahead of the chains.
Loss of 2. Looking over, Bryce Johnson's down on one knee in the huddle. Well, Chillicothe 21-20 over Miami Trace at a battle there. 2nd and long, pitch to Johnson. Not a lot of running room, tries to cut it back, maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Johnson's getting tired.
Good job turning the play in that time. Nice defensive play by Leighton of Westfall. He turned it in, didn't let Bryce go outside of him. And then the linebackers filled with the tackle.
Well, you got Johnson with his hands on his hips. Higgins has been over with his hands on his knees. It might be a good time for Coach Weirs to maybe just call a timeout.
Yeah, maybe let the clock run all the way down.
As
You're
Bryce
down to-
Johnson's
we're
like
gonna-
in a catcher's position out there. He's exhausted.
We're going to be under 3 minutes. They come to the line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 11. And exactly 3 minutes left in the game. 4 seconds. 3. Another man in motion. They run the play. They fake it. They want to throw. They throw to the right side. They got a man and overthrew him. It was Higgins down the right sideline and just overthrew him at the pylon. Had him open, but not by a lot.
Yeah,
And now
he
fourth
was
down.
he was definitely open. The only bad thing about that play, Greg, is
Stop
now the
the
clock.
clock.
Yeah, the clock stops. It's 2:48, and it's 4th and 12, and you're kind of in no man's land here. You're kind of too close to punt and probably too far away to kick a field goal.
Yeah,
So-
you got 12 yards to go. You could run the ball, but the clock's going to stop on change of possession.
Right.
So even if you throw a pass incomplete, the clock's going to stop anyway. So maybe they'll put it in the air again. They're going to let the clock run down, the play clock. Clock stops at 2:48, and Zane Trace will take a timeout, leading 14-7. Let's take a quick timeout as well. The Thomas Insurance SVC Game of the Week, back in 30 seconds. Has carried the ball 700 times. He is worn out. Higgins has been over. So Zane Trace isn't real deep. They don't have a whole lot of subs. Both teams are pretty worn down right now, but we come to a 4th down. Zane Trace will go for it on 4th and 12. Just inside the 25 of Westfall. Man in motion is Johnson. McCullough pitches to the left. They're going to go Higgins. Higgins, halfback pass in the end zone. He's got a man open. Touchdown! Oh, what a call by Zane Trace. Higgins is left-handed. A sweep to the left side. Higgins stopped, and it's Hartley again. Was that Hartley the contact?
Yes, it was.
His 2nd touchdown catch of the night. And Jalen Higgins rolled to the left, stopped in a halfback pass. What a great call by Zane Trace, and they lead it 20-7. Boy, that was
Great play call.
Great play call. Extra point kick up, and it is good. No good, right?
I think they said no good, yeah.
No good, so it stays at 20-7, 2:42, timeout on the field. Zane Trace scores again, their 3rd second-half touchdown. They lead at 20-7. Thomason Insurance SVC Game of the Week, back with a kickoff after this.
The stress and strain of a personal loss can burden.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people. All to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank. Working together, building success.
You've been watching SVC Game of the Week, presented to you by Tomlinson Insurance.
But he pulled up. I didn't realize he was left-handed.
I didn't either. You almost wonder if that was something they had in the back pocket, maybe waiting for next week, but felt like they really needed it right there.
And Hartley, that's a nice catch by Hartley. He was about 4 or 5 yards behind the defender, but he reached up with the 2 hands. That's 2 touchdown catches by Hartley tonight, Mason Hartley. 20-7, the extra point was no good, and a kickoff on the ground. Bounces, Westfall will pick it up and mark it down at the 25. They did not try to return it. That was Layton who caught it on the bounce. They wanted to make sure, nice job, you don't want to kick the ball. Quinn Eberle can score from anywhere on the field. So you don't kick it to him, you kick it on the ground, and Westfall will begin this series now down by 13, 2 scores at their own 25.
So you got to think, down 20-7, 2 minutes and 40 seconds, 2 minutes and 40 seconds left, and I think they got one timeout.
Yeah, they used too early. You're right.
They're going to have to, probably go at least 3 or 4 wide and look to throw the football.
And again, Quinn Eberly does have one interception he threw tonight. Shotgun, Eberly wants to throw, rolls to his right, throws it now into the flats. And from behind, the tackle made just about 2 yards down the field. Good coverage by Zane Trace. They tried to, I think that was Joey Wright, just on a swing pass out of the backfield. Pick up 3 yards on the pass play. Clock moves 2:21, 2:20, 2:19. Westfall gets 3 wide receivers to the left. Eberly wants to throw, looks to the right side. Now he's going to run, roll to the right side. He's going to keep running down the sidelines 30, and he runs out of bounds shy of the first down. Well, the thing I noticed about Quinn Eberly, I talk about him being fast, it's when he decides to turn on the jets, his next 2 steps are so quick.
Yes.
And again, we saw him go 85 yards against Circleville, and went 97 against Paint Valley.
Yeah.
Clock moving. Well, he ran out of bounds. Stop the clock. 2:06. It's 3rd down Westfall.
I've been really impressed with Westfall tonight, Greg.
I
thought
agree.
they played well.
Their defense just got worn down.
It
That's
did.
It is the fact. 3rd down and a short 5. Eberly rolls to the left. Now throws back to the right to the receiver, and he drops the ball. Landon Sparks. Sparks has the only touchdown of the night on a touchdown pass from Eberly.
I think he was starting to look ahead to
took
run
off
before
to
he caught the ball.
Yeah, Landon was coming back on like a bubble screen, and when he came back, easy to do. He looked to see where everybody was. He was going to take off running, and you got to catch the ball first. He dropped it. Now 4th down Westfall. They got to obviously keep the drive alive here with 2 minutes to play in the ball game.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, if they don't get the first down here, the game's over.
Yeah, Zane Trace can almost go to victory formation if they stop the Mustangs here. 3 receivers right, single to the left, 1 to the right. Now rolling, Eberly rolls out, wants to run with it, now throws up the field, caught by Westfall to 40. Nice catch and a first down. Nice throw by Quinn Eberly and a nice grab.
Aiden Daniels.
Yeah, Aiden Daniels went up in the air and pulled it down at the 40, so as soon as they move the chains, they'll start the clock. Westfall gets out, now under 2 minutes to play. They do get the first down. Eberly, pass again, looks, rolls to his right. Now looking, still looking, wants to run to his left. Zane Trace trying to keep him from running, and he'll run out of bounds.
Oh.
That was not a good play there by Zane Trace. Lucky he didn't get a penalty.
Yeah.
It was Peyton Arthurs who has the interception tonight for Zane Trace, but lucky he didn't hit him hard, but he shoved him once he was out of bounds.
Yeah, you need to be smart right there.
Yeah.
That's going to do nothing. He's running out of bounds. He is lucky he didn't get a penalty for 15 yards right there.
Clock stopped as Quinn Eberly runs out of bounds at the 44. Clock down to 1:38 to play in the ball game. 20-7 Zane Trace. 3 second-half touchdowns for the Pioneers. Eberly rolls to the right, still rolling. He's got some room if he wants to run, and now he does run, and he runs out of bounds right at midfield. Picked up about 6 more first down, and the clock stops again. Well, Zane Trace is laying back. They don't want to give up a big play here. Eberly, you could tell once he broke containment, he had room to run, and he wisely just ran out of bounds, stopped the clock.
Yeah, he's obviously much improved as a quarterback from the first week we saw him. But you still he has a little bit of happy feet back there, and he's a little quick to tuck it, but he's also really fast. So I can't really blame him for that either.
I'm guessing as much as Quinn has ever played quarterback, he's just been able to take off anytime he wants, and get loose. And I told you, he's pretty active. His ball is a kind of a soft floating ball. He doesn't have a lot of zip, but he's never played. Maybe it's been a while because they had Pottix. Now he wants to run, throws the ball to the sidelines and out of bounds at the last second, throwing the ball incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. Clock stops at 1:26 to play. Greg Bigham and Jaron Cox here on WXIZ. Glad to have you along. Back next week, thanks to Back to Studios.
Vanessa
Vanessa George helping us out. Makes life easier on me.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a little nervous here in a few weeks where I've got to sub in for Chillicothe week 8 and week 10. And yeah, Vanessa, if you hear me, I'm going to need some help.
Ball just shy midfield. Westfall scoring in the first quarter, not scoring since, and they've got a 2nd and 10. Down by 2 scores. Eberle back to pass, looking. Now he's going to scramble to his right, throws it down the right sidelines, and the receiver turned to the inside was Joey Wright. I think Quinn thought he was going to stay on the sidelines. He turned it in, incomplete pass. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Really just nowhere for him to throw the football right now. Every time he's thrown it, it seems like there's been at least 2 Zane Trace defenders there, as it should be when you're up by 2 touchdowns this late in the game. But he's kind of rolling out and extending the play, trying to, maybe come for like receivers come like a comeback play, come back to the ball, scramble drill, whatever you want to call it, and just not able to find anybody that's open right now.
After watching Huntington and Beaver Eastern, I'm never going to say the game's over. That was
true.
the night Huntington scored with 16 seconds to go up by 1 and still lost the game. So now we got, is that their final delay of game, 5 yards. So 5-yard marker off delay of the game makes it 3rd and 15. Eberle takes the snap back. Looking, throws it over the middle on a little screen pass. It got room to the 50, to the 45, and out of bounds shy of the first down. It'll be 4th down, but only about 3 yards to go. That's a nice call there. They went over the middle on almost a little middle screen.
Yeah.
It was 4th down and 3 or 4. I believe it was complete to Daniels. Aiden Daniels on the catch. Aiden's made 2 catches on this drive.
Yeah, he has. That was a really nice play call right there. The offensive line kind of let the D-line come at the quarterback, and Daniels just cut across the middle right there.
4th down. Mustangs need the 1st down. Clock stopped again as Daniels went out of bounds. 4th and 4. Back to pass, throwing to the right side and incomplete. They tried to roll to the left, throw back to the right, and that's been about 3 times. That wasn't a great pass, but again, if it would have been caught, it was to Sparks, but Sparks, had he caught it, he wasn't able to. He had to go to his knees, so he was going to be shy of the 1st down, and that ends Westfall hopes, as now Zane Trace just has to go to victory formation with 1:08 to play in the game, leading 20-7. So McCullough will do that. I think Westfall maybe have 1 timeout left.
Yeah,
possibly.
They got 1 left.
But they should be able to go to victory formation and run the timeout here. So they move up, and McCullough will kneel. Westfall does a nice job. Don't even bother to rush. They just stand up. I don't think Westfall will use their timeout.
Nah.
So 1 minute. Should be able to do it one more time, and that would be it. They got to wait till under 40 seconds. They'll let the clock run down here. Clock at 47-46, still 25 on the play clock, so they can run it all the way down under 25 seconds on the game clock before they run another play. And again, one more kneel, and this should be it for a Zane Trace win. McCullough under center. Snap, down, and that should do it. The teams shake hands immediately. The 2 line, who played great. Offensive line, Zane Trace, the defensive line for Westfall. What a battle they had tonight. And Zane Trace comes back with 3 second-half touchdowns. 2nd week in a row they've come from behind. And the final score, as the clock runs down to 0, from Zane Trace, the Pioneers 20, Westfall 7. We'll be back to wrap this one up. It's the Thomason Insurance SVC Game of the Week.
Ready to transform your entire lawn? Call Greenwald Lawn and Landscape. Just need a quick mow? Call Greenwald Lawn and Landscape.
It's not just about saving up. It's learning what it means to earn something for yourself, a few dollars at a time. It's about earning your independence. Every deposit, every goal, every step closer. It's more than just opening an account. It's opening the door to what's next. People's Bank, working together, building success.
Ready to transform your entire lawn? Call Greenwald Lawn and Landscape. Just need a quick mow? Call Greenwald Lawn and Landscape. Driveway full of snow? Call Greenwald Lawn and Landscape. Greenwald Lawn and Landscape provides expert lawn care, landscaping, and snow removal services for year-round property maintenance. Call the experts at Greenwald 740-701-6744. Greenwald Lawn and Landscape, a proud sponsor of SVC Sports.
Oh, my mower won't start. I know what to do. Take it to Matheny's Small Engine Repair, located on Savageville School Road in between Jackson and Chillicothe. Matheny's is now an official Encore dealer with both new commercial and residential models on display. They'll get you up and mowing.
Stressed? Overstimulated? Smash it out at Recreations. Rec plates in our rage room, fling paint in the splatter zone, then strike a pose in the selfie studio. Chaos, creativity, and content. Let's get messy.
You've been watching SVC Game of the Week, presented to you by Tomlinson Insurance.
Flexibility, growth, and a fun, fast-paced work environment.
At McDonald's, we're more than just burgers. We're part of the community. From supported local events to helping neighbors in need, we're proud to give back.
Apply today at your local Chillicothe or Waverly McDonald's or McHire.com. We'd love to have you on the team.
That wasn't blank.
I'm loving it.
No. Yeah. Okay. Greg Big and Jared Cox back to wrap this one up. Good football game tonight. Two teams that came in 2-0 in conference play, 4-1 overall. And a final of 20-7. Zane Trace with 3 second-half touchdowns. If you joined us late, Westfall took the kickoff. And they wound up punting the football. Zane Trace fumbled the punt. Westfall got the ball to Zane Trace 14. Westfall did not, and went on a 4th and short, and they were held. It stayed 0-0, but later in the first quarter, Zane Trace got it at 41 of Westfall after Zane Trace 3 and out, and a 38-yard touchdown pass from Quinn Eberly to Sparks. 3:31 to play, 7-0, and that's where we were at halftime. Zane Trace kind of shot themselves in the foot. Westfall did a great job. Their defensive line and 3 linebackers played tremendous, and Zane Trace couldn't get it going. But Zane Trace, I don't know how many adjustments they made. Maybe they just got a talking to, but they came back with their type of game in the second half. First series, it was 4th down, and McCullough was able, that was the big play that finally got him going, a 24-yard touchdown pass to Hartley, 7:08 left in the first quarter. Westfall came back. Zane Trace, Arthur picked off a pass, returned it out around midfield, but Zane Trace couldn't do anything with it. Snapped the ball over the punter's head. Westfall had it in Zane Trace territory at the 36 in a 7-7 game, but they wound up punting the football eventually. Zane Trace came back, and Higgins broke open a 29-yard run in the fourth quarter. 10:06 left in the game, 14-7. And again, on the next series, Zane Trace eating the clock up, got to under 3 minutes, 4th down and 12, and they win with a halfback pass. Flipped to Higgins. He was sweeping on the left side, stopped, raised up with the left hand, and hit Hartley his second touchdown reception, 20-7. That was with 2:40 left in the ball game, and that's where we wound up.
Yeah, just looking at some team and individual stats here. First, for Zane Trace, had Zane Trace with 44 rushes for 288 yards, 196 in the second half alone. So they really controlled the game in the second half. Bryce Johnson led the way, had 26 carries for 202 yards. Jaden Higgins, 10 carries for 66 yards. Gunnar McCullough, 6 carries for 12 yards. Mason Hartley, 1 carry for 2. Hudson Williams, 1 carry for 6. Throwing the football, Zane Trace was 3 of 7 for 54 yards, 2 touchdown passes. Jaden Higgins, 1-of-1, like you just said, 1-of-1 for 24 yards on the touchdown pass. And Gunnar McCullough, 2 for 6 for 30 yards. Receiving for the Pioneers, Mason Hartley, 2 catches for 48 yards, had 2 24-yard touchdown receptions, 1 from McCullough, 1 from Higgins. And Grady Stewart, 1 catch for 6 yards. Had Zane Trace for 5 penalties for 70 yards. Some of those were costly, and 2 turnovers on the day with 2 fumbles. Flipping over to Westfall, 27 carries for 107 yards. Quinn Eberly led the way. He had 17 carries for 61 yards, and then Joey Wright had 10 carries for 46 yards. Throwing the football, Eberle finished 5 for 13 for 66 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Had 4 penalties for 45 yards, no turnovers. So, it was a game, I think, going into this game, Greg, that we knew that both teams were going to run the football. There wasn't, a lot of, we'll call big plays. There was a couple at the end when Zane Trace got their touchdowns, but for the most part, it was just line up, and the game was won and lost in the trenches, and Zane Trace kind of wore Westfall down there in the second half. Westfall's defense could not get off the field, and Bryce Johnson appeared to just keep getting stronger and stronger along with the Zane Trace offensive line.
Zane Trace didn't make as many mistakes the second half, penalties, turnovers. They controlled, and you're right. I think one of the key things is they just wore – Westfall's defense was on the field so much in the second half, they wore them down and won it 20-7. On the other side, Zane Trace, I thought something they did well tonight is the fact that Quinn Eberle can score anywhere on the field. I thought they did a great job controlling Eberle. He was never able to get loose. Joey Wright had the one right there at the beginning of the second half, that one big run that he had. But they controlled, for the most part, that Westfall running game, forced them into their last series or two having to throw, something that Westfall's not as comfortable without Pottix and now with Eberle. But the Zane Trace defense rose to the occasion, gave up that one big touchdown pass, but that was it. And their defense did a great job, and I hit the nail right on the head. They controlled the line of scrimmage second half. They ran it, and they ran it, and they ran it. I'll tell you, Bryce Johnson will sleep well tonight as much as he ran the football tonight. And they ran it, and you're right. I just thought down the stretch, once they made it 7-7, the Westfall defense just wore out. They just weren't as they got a lot of big boys up front, and like I said, two of their linebackers are fairly stout, and they wore them down. And Jaron, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, they just didn't have anything left in the tank, and now we can start to look forward a little bit to next week. You got Unioda and Zane Trace playing, and what probably will decide the SVC championship. Both teams are coming in the league play at 3-0, and just watching tonight and watching Unioda a few times and Zane Trace a few times now. Obviously, Zane Trace has to play a lot better than what they played tonight.
Yes,
They had a lot of mistakes. They fumbled the ball twice, let Westfall recover it twice. They fumbled a third time. They jumped on. Penalties. They can't afford those things. The other thing that would concern me a little bit if I was Zane Trace is just the depth. I think that, they have the talent, they have the athletes and the skill players to compete, but can they do it for 48 minutes? That would be one of my biggest concerns right now, because you saw Johnson and Higgins wearing out at the end of the fourth quarter. Yeah, they had to play a lot this week, but if you're going to beat Unioda, if you want that top spot in the SVC, they're basically probably not going to be able to come off the field. And so those would be my two concerns. If I was Zane Trace, you got to clean up your own game. You can't have the mistakes and the depth. It's one of those things that the offensive line for Zane Trace is going to have to play great. They're going to have to control the line of scrimmage, and Zane Trace is just going to have to be content with getting 3, 4, 5 yards of carry and maybe try to wear Unioda down. Because here's the other thing, if you get that game to the second half next week at Unioda and it's tied or it's a one-score game, Unioda's varsity football team hasn't had to play many second halves this year, so they could start to wear down a little bit. And Zane Trace has proven that, maybe they're a second half team here the last 2 weeks. So, I think it's going to be an exciting game next week. Obviously, it's a big rivalry game. It's always been a big rivalry game, and two good football teams, and we're going to try to figure out who's the top dog in the SVC.
Yep, and I think you make good points. We'll see. Zane Trace may be a little not as deep as Unioda, and we'll see what that happens. And you're right, you can't. Hopefully, Zane Trace knows it. They just can't have a lot of mistakes because Unioda is a very good football team. But they certainly have some skilled people and good people, obviously, for Zane Trace that can play with some of the great athletes that Unioda has as well. So it'll be a fun game. We'll be there next week at Unioda to bring you our next game on the Thompson Insurance SVC Game of the Week. Thanks to Vanessa back at the studios, all of our great sponsors we have each and every week on our SVC coverage on the home of the SVC, WXIZ. And again, the final tonight, again, Westfall, nothing to be ashamed of. They just wore down. They led 7-0 until about midway in the third quarter, and then 3 straight touchdowns to finish the game for Zane Trace to win it 20-7. Westfall, again, they still got a chance to win some games through the rest of the year. They do finish up the season in week number 10 with Unioto. Meanwhile, Zane Trace, kind of, as we just said, big game next week at Unioto. Jaron, good to have you back again. Back on the broadcast, and we'll have you back next week, and then I'm going to lose you again, right?
Yeah, you're going to be without me week 8 and week 10.
All right. Well, thank you for listening in here to the home of the SVC. Greg Bigham, Jaron Cox from Zane Trace. One final time, the Pioneers score 3 second-half touchdowns, and the final, Zane Trace 20, Westfall 7. Have a great weekend, everyone. Stay safe. We'll see you next Friday night from Unioto. Good night, everybody.